All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics of Local America's number one
Number
political
one.
hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics or Local. So, we've got some real exciting community things that we're going to get into tonight. We don't necessarily have a particular show, um, like the Mayor's Forum or, pastrami in politics. But we're going to have some guests come through. And so Zaid's going to give you the lineup, right, Brother Zaid?
Rundown. Yes, sir. At 6 o'clock, just in the Mississippi minute, we're going to continue our Black August action uh, from around the country. I got some folks from St. Louis, some folks from Jersey City. We got some powerful Black August actions coming up, right? 6:30, we got a powerful discussion on Cuba. Fidel Centennial was just yesterday. And we got some incredible solidarity that we're going to be talking about because Fidel, no, name me somebody who's done more for Africa than Fidel Castro in the Cuban Revolution. It's a different kind of Black August conversation. The question is solidarity with Cuba, why it's so important. Uh, Obi Egbuna will return. Russell Maroon Schultz' son, Russell Schultz Jr., will be with us for the first time. And Shafir Mbalea, who I was in Cuba with the last time I was in Cuba, will be with us for the first time. 7 o'clock, Madam Donna K. Wilson has got a new author who's going to talk about her book. Her name is Siheed Cleveland, and on her book, Sisters. And at 7:30, want to have I'm saying this with taking a beat, an intergenerational conversation in tribute to the late Johanna Fernández, right? Pam Africa will be the presiding elder among some other very special guests. And of course, we'll wrap up hopefully with DJ Rhino and Hakeem can let us know what's happening in the land of hip hop as we get ready for 24 hours apiece in a couple
Yep,
of
yep.
weeks.
Yeah, right. 24 hours apiece. Wow. Here we go with another year, you know. I'm
Yeah,
sure. I'm sure Hawk was given a rundown a little bit, last year. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
so uh, you know.
Peace. Peace, 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 peace.
Hey Tracy, how are you? Where's our sister?
The sister told me that she's not feeling well or she is not going to make it. I just got that. I just got that
She's been
message.
texting me all day. She ain't saying
I
nothing
got,
like
I got the message the same time I got the link. You know what I'm saying? So hey, it's all, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm here. Okay.
And we is now what's in that now? We also should have Chris Duran, and
Oh,
yeah, Chris should be here.
okay, Chris. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he should
I don't see
definitely
him
be
yet.
on. Yeah, I don't see him yet either. And I want to apologize to everybody that we got the link late. And so, Tracy, I'm glad you got it all right. Right? If
You
she
know, I
had sent me your email, you wouldn't have gotten it. We'd be scrambling. We'd be doing something totally different.
listen.
We'd be freestyling the current events.
Hey, and I believe y'all got some freestyle in y'all. You know what I'm saying? You've been doing this work for this long. You guys definitely got some freestyle in y'all. And I see we all got the, kind of like similar dues, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we-
Well, I don't think Zaid and I had a choice though. I think I was carried by force. You know, it's called maturity. We won't call it what other people want to call it.
Shit, man.
I, and by the way, Zaid, happy God bless birthday, my brother.
Oh man, I've been trying. Father Time is undefeated. I can't get on my legs and do the bicycling like Muhammad Ali taught us how to do. And for all the jabbing in the world, Father Time just keeps coming.
yeah.
Just keep coming. I'm trying to get away from them, but they keep coming. But today is also this is Black August. Let's use that shout out to leap into this thing called Black August. Today is also the anniversary of the ceremonial launch of the Epic Haitian Revolution. You want to understand why I'm good and crazy? Because God saw fit to bring my big head, my black ass here on the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution.
I
Come
should
there, I don't know nothing to do but fight. Even if I lose, so what? We gonna fight anyway. fight, goddammit.
That's right. That's right. We actually had a ceremony. Yeah.
Tracy, come on, so you got a rep now. So you got a rep for a whole
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Peace
Our
out.
girl ML Smith was supposed to join us.
You know, she's watching. She just said she's sorry and she loves us. I don't know if y'all saw it come across the screen.
Well, wait till I talk to her. She back herself out.
That's my comrade. Let her be now. Let her be. Let her be. Let her be. Yes.
Now, Tracy, I had the pleasure of meeting you when y'all came all the way from St. Louis to Harlem to be with us for the centennial of Malcolm.
Yes.
Right. And I really, I mean, we draw when I'm talking, and for folks who should know what I'm talking about, context, I'm talking about the annual pilgrimage to Malcolm's gravesite that we have been doing since 1966. Right. And folks have been coming from, one of the things that my organization, the Malcolm X Commemoration Committee, made a point of doing with that ceremony is to make it grow. We made it an international event. So we're used to people, coming from all over. But, y'all were the first that I think that have come as far away from the St. Louis. Right. And I really appreciated that sojourn that y'all took, but, my little sister, Ilyasa Shabazz, Malcolm's third daughter, who manages the Shabazz Center now, right? Is in her latest book, one of the things that she lifts up is, what pilgrimage as a concept means for our people. And it has a lot of meanings. It meant something very specific for Malcolm in terms of all of the spaces that he was going to and going through. But, we have places where we should be doing pilgrimages all the time. I got a comrade, a member of the organization who's in Senegal, and the ancestors of Gorée Island have been popping me in the back of my head that you need to make this pilgrimage to Gorée Island. You call your comrades and them come. When you gonna come? Right? We I got Melina Abdullah has this great story that she made this pilgrimage to lift up the great Zora Neale Hurston, went all the way to Eatonville, Florida. We go back and forth in the fight for voting rights to Selma. We pilgrimage, right? So the concept of pilgrimage means a lot, and I appreciate y'all, pilgriming all the way from St. Louis to come and be with us.
Yeah, right? It was an honor. It was an honor and a pleasure.
So Tracy, now, our girl ML Smith, I know about all the stuff she does, and I know you're a marvelous artist and on the lyrical front, right? But I never really got a chance to build with you and all the things that you do. And who is this great Tracy Stanton, and what does Black August mean to her? And then we'll jump into the event.
Yeah. Thank you again. Gratitude to the Most High, to the ancestors, to you all for the invitation to be in this space with y'all. Gratitude to y'all for the legacy and the lineage and the work that you all have been doing, the pathway that y'all have opened up for us to continue the freedom struggle. So yeah, my name is Tracy T. Spirit Stanton. I came home from prison in 2017 and began organizing, although I feel like I was organizing all of my life. I know that I was, but in the freedom struggle around abolition and revolution since 2019. And I came in on the heels of the No More Jail Deaths campaign, and then became a founding member of an organization called the Freedom Community Center. And so just using my lived experience, my life experience in study and history and lineage and spiritual work and artwork to be able to create systems of safety that do not involve the state, while also building power to challenge the state and dismantle systems of oppression, specifically, like I said, jails, prisons, and police. And I have a lineage. I come from a lineage of organizers and somatic practitioners and artists that also poured deeply into me.
And I'm name some of them. You got a minute.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it, Baba. So my first mentor was Mary Hooks, Michael Milton, who is the founder of the Freedom Community Center, Brandon Sturdivant with Mass Liberation Network. Right now, my current person is Mawulisa. I would also say my peers, ML and Ronnie Amin, are also individuals that pour into me, and Kayla Reed, I would say, from Action St. Louis, that were also the individuals that that mobilized around closing the workhouse when I didn't even know if that something like that was possible, just coming home, doing my own process of decolonization and all of the things that's necessary once you begin to move from a different mentality to another one. I was like, we're gonna do what, and it happened, right? My brother actually died in the same jail in 2012 that I got to be a part of closing. And so, that not only was, it was a form of repair.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sorry to hear that the fact that now years later I'm on a no more jail deaths campaign since 2020, where 22 people have died inside of the other St. Louis City jail. So I've been working and walking with families ever since then, right? Since the uprisings, since the resistance in 2020, when my brothers and sisters and our comrades that were inside of the facility didn't want to die from COVID, so they did what we do, which is they resisted, and I have been working with and walking alongside families since then. So you mentioned your birthday being today. Last night we actually had because part of my work is spiritual work, part of my work is ancestral work, as well as grassroots power building, organizing, and culture. And last night we actually had a ceremony to honor the Haitian Revolution, the ceremony that sparked out the Haitian Revolution. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to be with my folks there. And
let me put a pin in that, because I want folks to appreciate what we're talking about, right? Warrior woman Cecile Fatima. The black woman.
Yes, black woman.
Who all the maroons together out from the hills.
That's right.
So the time has come.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
She grabbed that young boy, Bookman,
Doti.
had the Quran burnt on his hip.
Yes.
When they capture him.
Muslims.
Do the ceremony, boy.
Yes.
He did a sacrifice. He did a traditional African sacrifice.
Black pig,
and what we now call Fudun and Haiti, but it's something that we've always done as African people.
That's right.
Right?
That's
and
right.
not only did they make the decision to officially launch the Haitian Revolution 8 days later, but they fought it in an African way, leaning on their African spiritual and military traditions.
That's right.
And that revolution was full of revolutionary women like Cecile Fatima, like Toya, who raised Dessalines. So this ain't nothing to play with.
Yes. Absolutely, Baba.
Put that Black August honey and sugar on there, right?
Yeah.
And it ain't no goddamn white sugar either.
That white sugar shit'll kill you.
That's the white sugar, white man, white woman, all cocaine, all that white stuff bad for you.
So I was born.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just
no apologies needed. No apologies needed, because I think in a lot of different spaces and places, it is imperative that we begin to remember to center and honor spirit, that we know and understand that we are pulling from and invoking spirits of revolution and resistance. And we're not just coming into the meeting alone. I think it's really, really important. And that's why my work is anchored in spiritual work. So to have the young ones and the elders, the young ones there at the ceremony last night, to sit at the feet of Dr. Treasure Shields Redmond to guide us was so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And so thank you for bringing that up and being born right on this day. So my birthday is August 1st, the first day of Black August. Okay.
That's right.
Yes,
1979. Straight out of the hells of the California prison system.
Qatari
was the first Black August. Anniversary of the Harlem uprising of 43.
Come on now.
Right?
Qatari God,
we lose him on that day the year before.
Exactly.
He was actually one of the people who brought that together.
Come on now.
The Black Guerrilla family, as it was once upon a time known.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So I got me a Black August baby.
Yeah, Black August baby.
I'm about to go punk. Wow.
Exactly. So we've been hosting a series of activations throughout this Black August. this and culminating in the event that we're going to talk about. But so yeah, my work has been all over the country. It's been in St. Louis, anchored in St. Louis, but all over the country. And I'm grateful to be able to bring the integrated methodology of art, spirit, culture, and revolution, grassroots organizing from the bottom up, and working as a formerly incarcerated person, working with and for formerly incarcerated people. And so we also bring voices, have an inside outside organizing strategy as well. So yeah, very
That's so
grateful to
old
be
school.
here.
Right on, baby.
Yeah, very grateful, very, very grateful to be here, sharing this space.
Let me put a pin in something else though,
Yeah,
because
put a pin on
I
me.
I work in what we call community based violence intervention,
Yes,
right?
CBI.
And it's built around those of us who have been there and done that, right?
Mhm.
But one of the things that I want to build on your story and what you just laid out about who you are and how you drive your own vehicle in this is how important spirituality is
Let's get
as a
into it.
resilience factor by which we come back and transform ourselves. I work with a lot of young men who will stop short of the spirituality. Hear what I'm saying, daughter?
Oh,
You
I
hear what
know.
I'm saying?
I know.
You know our brothers, when it comes to actually start being disciplined
Yeah. Yeah.
about certain things in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do what? That's not was be disciplined about what you're doing. Some of everything. If you made some undisciplined mistakes that got your behind locked up, it's time for some discipline. But underneath that,
Mm-hmm.
you got to really, really believe in something bigger than your black behind to really help us move the needle to try and change the world, so we don't keep losing our kids to this stuff.
That's right.
Right. So I just wanted you to put a pin on. So just take a minute. Tell us how you came to your own spiritual conviction.
I know and understand. One thing that I can say, I know and understand that even throughout it was there and present and alive my whole life. Even when I was out in the streets selling dope, then doing dope and walking the streets and all of those things, it was always there. It was always there. It was always alive. I would say when I was in prison before I came home, and I had several revelations and epiphanies, right? They came to me as still small voices. And I know that may sound cliche, but it's the truth. That said, like, you got work to do. And that was the first time that I was incarcerated for institutionalized drug treatment and incarcerated because I had a usable amount of substances. And when I came home, one day I was walking down the street because I was clean then. I was walking down the street. And when I looked up, the sky looked totally different. And it felt like it opened up for me. That was the beginning, I would say. And then it was a continuous process because, I know and understand that I am deeply tapped in to the point to where sometimes it makes me, I'm gonna be just honest and transparent. Sometimes it makes me think and feel like, okay, what's going on? We here, we ain't. Like, is you losing your mind? This type of energy. But the more study that I did, especially as an artist, as a spoken word artist, which is also oral tradition, invoking the spirits, the rhythm, the rhythmic tone. I have literally had like out of body experiences when I've been on stage. I have seen people almost catch what we would call the Holy Ghost through the transmission of energy that I have, storytelling and history and opening people up to. And so the combination of those things, and then learning more about African and indigenous practices, and going to Ghana 3 times, going to Ghana 3 times, doing somatics on the land, being in ritual, being in ritual and ceremony with the Native Americans at the Gila River Reservation on the National Day of Mourning, which some folks call Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so-called Thanksgiving. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and so it though the culmination, and then also just being in the hood on canvassing at the doorstep, looking into the eyes of my people, and seeing and feeling this electromagnetic connection. So all of those, but all of those are like how I have and initiated and then continue to know and prioritize spirit in this work. And then also seeing the result of when spirit is not the center of the work, when the data is the center of the work, or when the number is the center, or the grant funding, seeing all of those things when they are the center of the work, and seeing how spirit is then sucked out of the work, that same spirit and fire that you came in with. And so for me, in order to be staying committed to my commitments, I know that guidance and that pathway is led for me first through spirit, because that's the one thing when I was in prison that I always had access to, and we all always have access to, because as you potentially know, the etymology of spirit is breath, the animating life force. Right. That gives vital force, that gives life to living organisms, that moves through all of us in the trees. And so when I think about expansiveness or imagination or creativity, I'm not just looking at the human vessel. I'm looking at how the plants grow and how the sun rises and falls, and all of those things keep me grounded in what I know revolution is, not just on this material plane of existence, but the 5 dimensions. Okay, I can take
you got it, baby. No, baby,
you go all over the place. But yes. So
you got it. Ed Chris should be in the background. Let's get him in. And
he is, but he's not on camera. I mean,
Chris, get on cameras because we gonna lose you.
Yeah,
right? There you go. Chris. All right. Now let's transition. Now I've lifted that up for the reason that I just said to preview. Now I'm really looking forward to sharing this out with other brothers. I stole Malcolm's autobiography in the drug transaction. That's what saved my black behind. Okay. Real talk.
However you got to get it.
That's right. However you got to get
it. I said, I'm the dumbest Negro in the universe doing this. Right.
However you got to get it.
Yeah. And then I had to take that leap of faith that so many of us do. And I did it with Slam, and then I also now do it with Ifa. I do both of them. I put all weapons on the table.
Put it in. Hello, you better strap up now, because
now let's transition real quick because I got to bring this young man in this conversation, and I got to get ready for our next segment too.
Yeah,
you got a hell of an event coming up, loaded with lyrical word sorcerers, right?
Yes,
and you have a special guest, that a lot of us don't know and should know.
Yeah,
right? Who's a descendant of a Black August cornerstone.
Yeah.
Tell us about the event, and then we're gonna jump over to Chris.
Yeah. So we're having this whole month has been Long Live the Dragon. So that's the theme of our Black August this month, honoring the spirit of the revolution. And so to culminate these after like 6 activations that we have had throughout this month, we'll be having a 2-day convening, the 2-day Long Live the Dragon Black August convening. And the first day will be study, of course, fasting and study. And we'll have 6 sessions that are led by all formerly incarcerated people that are actually doing the work in a multitude of ways, from art to culture to spirit to revolution. And my good sis ML is going to be there as well. And then we will be having the special guest speaker is Jonathan Jackson Jr., who also happens to be a visual artist and a writer. And so he will be joining us in some
wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Tell everybody who Jonathan Jackson Jr. is and who his daddy is.
Yeah, so Black August, if you know about Black August, then you should definitely be familiar with George Jackson and his little brother, the young man child, Jonathan Jackson, who led the Marin County Slave Rebellion on August 7th, 1970. Yes, then who embodied what it means when we say free them all. Okay, his son that a lot of people didn't even know was, and I when you say spirit, I just was like, you know what? Let me see, and led into and made the ask, and here we are. So his son will be here, speaking with us, and he'll be here for 2 days because the second day we'll be having the Word Warrior Artist Resistance concert. That morning we'll be training at the park, so we'll be getting in all 4 of the tenets of Black August. And I'm just very grateful that St. Louis will be able to experience and hear directly from the descendant of one of the pillars of Black August, and somebody that really embodied what it means to be sick and tired, being sick and tired, and taking matters into our own hands. And so and I'm also even more grateful that that all of the sessions will be led by formerly incarcerated people. I think oftentimes, a lot of times in a lot of these conferences, there's a lot of people that are talking about how to support and, what to do with formerly incarcerated people. And how about go learn from them? How about that?
Right.
And so
That's right.
so I'm just really grateful that all my comrades will be there and be able to share their knowledge and wisdom as it relates to their lived experience, but also their revolutionary track, the work that they're doing, their power building, their organizing, and their art. And I thank you all for having me here, because we are having
give us a link, addresses and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And we'll share that out.
Definitely.
Right. I shared out the flyer, to promote the your conversation today. But so I want everybody to hear that, because we got folks listening from around the country.
Yeah. So thank you. And if you all want to follow Some Things Must Be Heard on Instagram, and I'll make sure that Baba has my information, and just gratitude to everybody that is doing anything related to liberation, freedom, and the struggle. Peace and power, y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you. I'm mad at myself, because if I had grabbed you and I had to deal with you when you was here in Harlem, I probably would have kidnapped you and kept you here.
Well, we got more time. We got more time. All right, y'all. Peace.
Appreciate you, dog. And tell our sister to feel better. Chris Duran.
Hey, peace. How y'all doing?
Peace, Chris. No, hold. Chris got a soccer shirt on. I got to deal with this. Hold up. What you repping?
Chile. Where my dad's from.
Right on. And that Chris, before we jump into what you're gonna do in Jersey City, right? Here's a son of Chile, right? Repping Black August, right? On the heels of the Panther elders who have had our hands on his little head. I got a big head, so we give thanks, right? Right? Chris, before we jump into what you're gonna do on the 28th, tell everybody why Black August is important to you.
By the way, let me just say this. Chris has come a long way. In a very
me admitted from a PhD now, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're proud of Chris.
Hell yeah.
He's come a long way,
That Ed is a Seton Hall alum. Chris is a Seton Hall alum. Chris was a baby at Seton Hall. They were taking over buildings and whatnot in our tradition, in the fight for reclaiming Africana studies and Latin American studies when them crazy ballheads was trying to take it. And this ain't in Mississippi, this ain't in Georgia, this ain't in Alabama, this is in Jersey.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for it. We needed to lay that out. Right on. I'm sorry, Chris. We interrupted you with some love.
I'll take it. I appreciate it, for real. Well, I mean, the program that we're doing is on the 30th, not the 28th.
I'm sorry, I said the 28th. Thank you for correcting that. And that day is important. Why is that a date important for Black August?
The 30th? You have to remind me. I'm sorry.
Now see that? Now you just blew your dissertation.
Listen, I didn't get much sleep.
Just a few minutes ago, we had Tracy tell us about Jonathan.
Oh, that's the assassination of George Jackson? Or is that his birth?
Right. And that Jonathan Jr. comes to us, and we missed this detail. His mom was only a month pregnant when daddy gets killed. So he is born and raised not even knowing who his daddy was for years. And as they try to protect him, Matulu's youngest son went through that too, right? But then, on August 30th, there's this young cat from Louisiana that was raised in Chi-Town by the name of Fred Hampton, who's born on the 30th. And Gabriel Prosser's uprising is betrayed on August 30th. And that was supposed to be a big uprising, right? So, you got to put that.
I know you had just sent me a reminder too. Like I felt.
But anyway, finish your thought. I'm sorry, but I had to put a pin in that because Black August is loaded like that, and we get in it like that.
I mean, yesterday was the creation of the Pan-African flag. Yesterday was the birthday of Fidel Castro.
Centennial of Fidel.
Today's the Bois Caiman ceremony. Sparked the Haitian Revolution.
Yes, sir.
It's also Baba Zaid's birthday.
Yeah.
So I mean, But
That's circumstantial madness.
but yeah. So just keep in mind, like again, Black August and why like there's so many events. I was just talking to a comrade of mine that has been helping set up some of like the Curb Fest events as well this month. Um, but we engage in these types of events because it's a month long commemoration of Black freedom struggles within the U.S. and internationally, and particularly centers like political prisoners as like the front line of those struggles. Um, and it's also like it really does also ground like how we think of like anti-colonial struggle, especially in like our world today. Um, we can relate this to like anti-colonial struggles in places like Palestine, in the Philippines right now, where their political prisoners are also held by U.S. built jails. Um, but yeah, I mean, Black August was started in 1979 in San Quentin to honor the lives of Jonathan and George Jackson, and their martyrdom in 1971. And so, in honoring Black August, and especially with our organization, Build More Unity, which is based in Jersey City, we also like honor the interconnected struggles of like colonized people in this country, with centering on the political prisoners of Black liberation struggle.
So take a minute and tell everybody about Build More Unity.
Yeah, so we're an organization based at Jersey City. We've been around since like 2020 or 2019. I think 2020, we could say. But we've been involved with like a lot of mutual aid projects where there's food and clothing distributions there. We've helped in coordinating, street cleanup programs there, as well as, with some local organizations in Newark. I think you're like familiar with people like Newark Community Action Network. Jen, I think. But yeah, so I mean, we've done programs like that. We've done political education programs just out in the community. Um, things particularly dealing in things like Pan-Africanism, anti-colonial struggles, linking all those together, uh, solidarity with the Cuban Revolution, solidarity with political prisoners. Um, a lot of our work also involves like platforming veterans of the Black Panther Party that were, actually active and organizing in Jersey back in the 60s and 70s, and those folks that are still around, making sure that and still very active in like the political prisoner struggles to free their comrades, um, still behind bars. We very much try to platform them as well, like Adno Smith, um, and a few others. Um, but yeah, and so like with this particular event that we're doing on the 30th, we'd really like to uplift like three current political prisoners that are veterans of the Black Panther Party, in particular Mumia Abu-Jamal, Kenny Zulu Whitmore, and Kamal Siddiqui.
Take a minute and talk about each of them, because people hear me say that all the time, but they need to hear other people say it. And what it means to your generation.
Yeah, admittedly, I'm least familiar with the case of like Kenny Zulu Whitmore.
Kenny has been in prison for over 50 years. 50 years in Angola, one of the worst in the country. Yeah. Right? Go ahead. I'm sorry, son.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things about like COINTELPRO especially was, the goal of separating, this sort of radical tradition from like future generations and like future youth. And so that's a big part of like why we also try to like connect veterans to like generations now, so that, their understanding of, the legacy of the party and stuff like that doesn't get like confused somewhere, which often happens. But, so like Mumia Abu-Jamal has been in prison since 1980. Was it 81?
81.
Mm-hmm. So he was sentenced to death and was on death row until 2010. Is it 2010?
Not quite, not quite, but in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm.
All right. Trying to remember all the details, but he was on death row for a while because of the fact that he was essentially accused and convicted with faulty evidence and with very problematic judicial process of killing a police officer in Philadelphia. He was a member of the Philadelphia chapter of the party, and did various other things in New York and California as well. Kamal Siddiqui was, I believe, in Queens. I think the Queens chapter.
From Queens. He's from Queens. Yes.
Yeah, and he's he's very much related in many ways to Assad Shakur, who passed on to the ancestors, about a year ago. Um, but they pursued him and convicted him in 2001, right in the middle of the whole thing after like 9/11 and the whole revamping of the security state under W. Bush, and essentially the main thing is that they tried to get him on also I think killing a police officer at some point in like past decades. But the main reason why they kept him in prison was because he refused to give up any information on Asada. So that's also the thing
And
about
for the record, I want folks to appreciate this: that Asada has one child, Koyu Shakur, right? It was a driving seat behind her mother's memorial. Koyu's father is Kamal Siddiqui.
Yeah.
And we have really exploded on how to build on Asada's transition. And Asada's transition takes place in the same day as Herman Ferguson, the founder of my organization, another political prisoner, one of Malcolm's comrades, to build support for Kamal and to be 10 toes down in our solidarity with Cuba, right? In fact, our next session right behind you is going to be a heavy conversation around the question of Cuba, right? So I just wanted to put a pin in that, right? Because that drove why they took him down and want to keep him down. And put him in Georgia. He's a Georgia state prisoner, right? And we're working with our rads in Georgia to turn it up for him, because those processes require that kind of presence. All right, okay. So let's jump to the 30th, because we've got to we got to get ready for the next 7. We got a full house tonight.
Yes.
Leave it, right? 30th. What y'all gonna do? What Fillmore Unity gonna do? What y'all got on deck?
So essentially, we're doing a cultural program. So we're gonna have like local artists and like vendors, music, food, all that, just as sort of very sort of block party type of vibe. At a place called Neighbor Studio in Jersey City, and with all of this though, within the framework of raising the call for political prisoners. So we're gonna have speakers that speak about that. We're gonna have the artists that we have. Like we're trying to have it more, I guess, quote unquote conscious music.
We got to apologize for that.
And
especially on a platform like
writing.
this.
Yeah, but also just like having like letter writing so that folks can get involved with that, show them how to do that, and raising funds for these campaigns and their commissaries. So,
what y'all are doing, it very much has a Curb Fest feel.
Yeah.
Right, y'all ain't calling it that, but it has a very Curb Fest feel, and Curb Fest is something that was taken off the block in Philly and adapted to our campaigns for our freedom fighters, and we've got that all over the country now. Go ahead.
I don't want to sound too, but I mean, we did that type of event before Curb Fest existed in the West Ward and Newark on South 10th, but. Just saying. But that's also why, like, I came on here. I was like promoting the fact that we there's also like all these Curb Fest programs going on, because of the fact that it's very much in alignment with like these programs all happening during Black August, and the fact that these different orgs and folks need to really like come together to defend these political prisoners, and also it's very much related to a lot of these international struggles that we tie ourselves to, like Cuba. And so we very much try to like ground that in like our local organizing, where we do these things like street cleanup programs and food distros and things like that, but we also want to make sure that it's going towards also lifting mass consciousness around these community-based organizers that were doing these things and that are in prison because they were doing that, and tying it to a political consciousness that was also international and looking for a better way of life against this imperialist system.
Indeed. And so, Chris, where are you doing this at in Jersey City?
So it's on Pacific Ave in Jersey City. Let me find the exact address. 370 Pacific Ave, Jersey City. Is called Neighbor Studio.
Okay.
Hey, I never heard of that space. Is that a new space?
Yeah, it's relatively new within the last like couple of years. But they've
Hey,
been very
Okay.
gracious.
you have a flyer for that, Chris, that we can post on the page.
Yeah, Baba Saeed has it.
Yeah.
It's on my page, Ed.
All right. So we're gonna get it and we'll post it on that on all of the social media, so folks can start putting that on their calendar.
Yeah, all right, very much appreciated. And I also do want to shout out, the folks who will be talking about Cuba because I've also been very much involved with Cuba solidarity campaigns as
Yeah,
well.
you had a recent trip with with Brigada Ramos.
Yeah, I went there a couple times, and
Mhm.
so again, we try to like tie a lot of that back into like our local work, and try to get some of those solidarity orgs like grounded in community work as well, so that folks are aware of these things and make those connections. So,
Indeed. And I'm looking forward to it, and I'm actually glad it's on the 30th and not the 28th,
yeah,
because I'll be in 9 places on the 28th and 29th. I'm gonna be
yeah.
nuts. Got to be
The 29th is the thing for Drew Washington.
yes,
On,
and lift up Drew,
Marquee Drive.
as we wind down. Lift up Drew because
Yeah,
he's a haunting Black August highlight on the scourge of police brutality. And we didn't get a chance to talk about Mike Brown and Ferguson with Tracy, but we went into another track that
yeah.
was powerful. Go ahead.
So Jersey City is another place in North Jersey that unfortunately has a long history of you know problems between the police and black and brown communities. Um, a couple years ago, there was a man named Andrew Washington who was dealing with a mental health crisis, and mental health response team was called, from 911, but they showed up with police, heavily armed, and they took his life. Build More Unity was a part of supporting the family, in his campaign for justice, and its ongoing campaign as well, um, and sort of looking to reform the public safety system like in Jersey City. So on the 29th of August, there's a Mental Health Awareness Day, and so the family of Drew Washington is doing this event from 1 to 5 p.m. Um, it's a spot right by the light rail station on MLK Drive in
Right
Jersey.
by their family spot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's gonna be like in honor of him, and pushing that campaign.
For those of y'all who rely on things like what you call it, Uber, and then what's the links for trying to find yourself when you don't know where you're going. What you call that stuff? I don't know what the hell you call that stuff,
Google
right?
Maps.
It is 409 MLK, right? The family has a sports bar.
Yeah,
It's been family business for a minute, and they want to block that whole area off. There's a lot going on in that area too, in terms of
yeah.
just
We just did our
people with
last
real
cleanup
needs.
program out of there.
Yeah. So that's going to be powerful. And I have to say that they were giving us an undue runaround by city officials,
Yeah,
right?
I heard.
And this ain't the old regime with Fulop. These are the new jacks. They
Yeah,
got some stuff they need to figure out for real,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And
So
also, I want to do shout out like one more program
sure.
tomorrow, um, in Newark, I believe. Black Alliance for Peace is hosting a program for Black
Oh
August.
yes, thank you for that. Go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to find the flyer again, but they'll be doing a screening of a documentary on the Pendleton too.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're going to be at the Greater Newark Conservancy,
yeah,
which is 32 Prince Street.
yeah,
Right? That beautiful green space that used to be a vacant lot. 32 Prince Street, right off Springfield Avenue, right? Nice spot. The returning citizens meet there every Thursday.
mhm,
Just to link the conversations and the work from the previous conversation. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Black Alliance are doing their
yeah,
thing. They're doing
that's
their thing.
tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. And so they'll be screening the documentary and then having a discussion afterwards.
Yes, good stuff. Good share. Good share. Good share. All right, young man. All right. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're on the case like you always had been since we were trying to feed you when you was a youngin. You know, and appreciate you continuing to move when you walk the way you're doing.
Hey, Chris, before you go, shout out Jersey City, the location, the name of that spot one more time. Shout it
Yeah,
out.
it's a new spot.
It's called Neighbor Studio. It's 370 Pacific Avenue in Jersey City. August 30th.
And what day is that? What day is August 30th? Is that a Saturday?
It's a Sunday.
A Sunday?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
At 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay. All right. Neighbor Studio, Pacific Ave. That's downtown Jersey City for folks who want to know. You know. So
that's right. Ed is a JC resident.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, we turn
looking
that.
forward to that, Chris. You know.
I appreciate it.
Gotta make sure we pop through, give you some support. Chris, we proud of you, man. You know, we're gonna be even proud of you once you finish that PhD, brother, and we can hold that up with you. Real proud.
That's right. That's right. And stay tuned if you can later on to the tribute we got to Johanna, right? Mm-hmm. Because the PhD ain't supposed to be no punk thing, right? And she worked the hell out of what she did, and paid some dues and as a consequence, but did it anyway, right? We have a serious conversation on some of that for sure.
You come in a real tradition, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Strong revolutionaries who were educated PhDs and stood strong for our people, man. So, we proud of the way you walking and the way you coming, and we know you're gonna be one hell of a PhD at the end.
Can you imagine this kid in the classroom?
I'm looking forward to it, brother.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to go back to college, brother. Go back to this class. Take me to folks, man. Be like, yo, it's gonna be like going back 40 years, man. So looking forward to it.
Get some shout outs too. You see that, right?
Yeah, I saw some. Yeah.
Right on. And as we wind down, we didn't get a chance to ask Tracy the ritual question. She was talking about rituals. Even ask her the ritual question.
Yeah.
I want to put a pin in the fact that Bashir Hamid was one of my teachers from inside. And then I grew up with his family in Roselle and Linden. And then he wound up being the field marshal for one of the oldest East Coast chapters of the party, the Jersey City chapter, right? And that party, that history of that chapter and their battles with the Jersey City police is something to be appreciated too. So we stand squarely on those shoulders when we come together on August 30th for that gathering that these young folks are doing. So right on to that. So who are you listening to? What's keeping you rocking these days, Chris?
Well, there's a band called Freetown Collective. They're from Trinidad and Tobago. They make, they're one of those folks that make conscious music. So if you ever get a chance to check them out on YouTube or anything like that, please do. I was trying to get them up here to perform, but they don't have their visas to the U.S. yet. It's called Freetown Collective.
Freetown Collective?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's especially poignant right now at a time where, Trump is making his moves around the Caribbean and, especially in places like Trinidad where, he's kind of imposing his will and there's some fight back,
Good.
To that. So.
Yeah, because we got a Comprador leadership coming out of Trinidad, so the people need to rise up and push past that. 100%. So. All right, man. That's a fresh original shit. Some folks we ain't never heard of. All right, right on. Straight ahead. That's what's gonna come from.
We're gonna
bottom up from the wretched of the earth. Straight ahead. Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good seeing you, Chris. Peace, man.
Oh, man.
I see your other guests in the back, Zaid. I just don't see them on camera. But
y'all come on camera so we can bring y'all on in. Right? Tag you early. Tag you going out and you come back at 7:30. I don't know if you can hear me, right? Shafah might be in the car, so she may not be able to come on camera, right? I hope we can. I hope Russell Jr. and Obi get on because they got a serious piece that they put together,
right?
That we definitely need to lift
up. Beautiful,
right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So Shafah, come on in. Shafah Unbelievers, who's been around for longer than as long as I've known her, not longer, right? And it's on so many fronts, but. And Shafah, why don't you just break down the spaces that you represented and are representing, and your recent sojourn to our special place in the Caribbean that is Cuba, and why it's so critically important critical in a way that we haven't seen in some time for our solidarity with Cuba right now, right? And then there's this cat that's right in the middle of Black August named Fidel Castro Ruz, who we need to be lifting up and sharing some love on, right?
So wait a second, Zai. So we were saying she couldn't come on camera. Is that what that is?
I think she's in a
So
car. Yeah, she's having
I'm
some
in the
issues.
car,
Yeah.
and let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go.
Oh, you all right? Yeah.
Kind of sideways, but we can figure it out.
No, we
My,
good.
my head is so big, you don't know if it's straight or sideways. Just don't worry about it.
Hey, brother. Thank you for the
So come
work
on
that
in,
you do.
beloved. Talk to us. Talk to us. What's happening?
Well. I tell you, it was a beautiful trip with beautiful people. The people of Cuba are us. If you didn't know who folks were, if they don't open their mouth, you think it is, cousin Willie down the block, right? And if we didn't open our mouths, sometimes they mixed us up. But they were like, "Where you from? What part of Africa you from?" Right? But it was I'm with the community, and the community is a workers' education and leadership development institution coming out of the Black Liberation Movement. Do education that's grounded in the Black Liberation Movement and the labor movement. And we are a close ally partnership with Black Workers for Justice based out of North Carolina, but spreading and building across the U.S. South and the global South. And we had an advanced team going into Cuba in support of the Cuban people that is about a humanitarian or international solidarity and humanitarian campaign because of the moves by the embargo and the blockade by the United States that is creating so much havoc on our people. Brother Lennox Hines, in his tribute to Assata, said that Cuba is us, and if they want to go through Cuba, they got to go through us. Cuba has stood so much with the Black Liberation Movement, both our movement here for national liberation in this country or inside this colonial beast, as well as internationally. And so it is our turn, we feel, that to stand with the Cuban people. And so we're putting together a national humanitarian campaign in the Black community, based out of the Black community. And we went over to Santiago and Guantanamo. Many folks don't know that Cuba's a Black country, and the further east you go within Cuba, in the country, the blacker it
That's
gets.
right.
And so we were moving around in Santiago and in Guantanamo, not the base, y'all, not the base, but in the city and in the province, and meeting with and partnering with folks in the community. And so what we're going to be doing is collecting solar and hygiene and medical supplies to go to communities and the maternity hospitals. So we're reaching out around the country and setting up a network of ambassadors, to really educate about, our Cuban brothers and sisters and the campaign and the need. There's this, for those folks who don't know, if you want to start with Robert F. Williams and you want to go to Katrina, if you want to go to free medical school, if you want to go to Assata, if you love Assata, then you got to love Cuba. And so that's, that's one piece of the work that we are engaged in. Brother Zaid asked me to talk about other stuff, but what I really want to talk about tonight is Cuba and the humanitarian work, the campaign, and then, but also, kick off. We're going to be doing a webinar and other kinds of cultural series coming out the community this fall, called Carrying on the Tradition, Lessons from Queen Mother Audley Moore to Assata Shakur. And it will be a year-long series of activities that will look at the lessons that Queen Mother and Assata both brought to us, what they learned from what Asada learned from Mother, what the lessons that Mother, laid out for Black liberation movement and all of that. So the two things are very much intertwined. So that's some of the work that's going on. Some of the work that's going on this fall. So Baba Zadi, we need you around, and brothers,
you know
we're
that
really happy.
you know we all up in that, right? But as practice as organizers always are, you laid out the nuts and bolts of what we're doing and what we need to be doing. I want you to lean on a little. Now I want you to lean on Fidel, right?
Yes.
It's incredible. Not just that we are observing his centennial, but we got 90 years out of one of the biggest, most hated CIA targets in the world. Right? 90 years of some incredible revolutionary solidarity, selflessness, courage,
Example.
everything you need, all in pretty words you need to understand what a
That's
revolutionary
right.
looks like. We had it in Fidel. But I want you to, from your lens, your vantage point, of why Fidel means so much to our people with the few minutes we got left.
I think Fidel, as an example of one who was so sincere about how the people, first of all, that struggle must be grounded in the people's needs and the people's leadership. And what does that look like? And the ultimate responsibility of organization, whether it's community all the way up through the state, must be led by and centered in maintaining the collective thought, the collective principle, the collective needs of the people. And while we were there, folks were talking about what the United States was doing, and the role that Fidel had, and the role of Raul, and why they're pointing out Raul. And I just want to say, and they would say, Raul is Raul. And what does that mean? Is that someone said that Fidel was the one who had, not that no one else had vision, but Fidel had the vision of and embodied the vision of the people, of a people whose creativity was unleashed and was always eternally committed to that. And that Raul is the one also that, he the one that carried it out. And so, he may tell, like Raul is going to be the one that, Fidel is going to be the one that sees long term, and then Raul would be the one that's like, here's the nuts and bolts of how we're going to carry this out. I think that's one of the reasons why, that little guy in Washington, D.C. got a thing about Raul. But Fidel is the beloved because of the vision of how centered, committed, and grounded he was, and developing the theory and could, speak and articulate the heart, the needs, the yearning of the people. And so I think that is, for me, and in reading some of his work, not all, I got more to read, but I think that is why Fidel was so important, because he maintained all of that Cuba as the light, for as it showed that you don't have to, have all of the material, that it is the heart, the soul of the people, and the collectiveness of the people that is maintained. And so they say the light, for South Africa. Mandela said if it hadn't been for Cuba, South Africa would not be free. And they showed their commitment in Angola. They showed commitment when Benny Thompson talked about rural health in Mississippi and the
Say
South.
that. A lot of people don't know about that.
It was Fidel that came out and offered to Black, brown, and indigenous students inside the United States to go to medical school for free, as long as they were committed to coming back and serving our communities. That was what the requirement was, and still is. And so IFCO Pastors for Peace has been carrying on that program, and there have been a number of folks who have been trained and have begun to come back. I believe I heard that there was a number 300 people have been trained so far through that program that is still going on. You know, in a time where folks are 65 and senior citizens trying to pay off student loans, right? You got folks who are offered, you know, becoming doctors, which, by the way, when we were in Guantanamo and met with Adela's Garden, which is in the one of the most marginalized communities in Guantanamo, you know, the doctors are there in the neighborhood. Doctors live in all the neighborhoods, and you can't tell the difference between, you know, the doctors hanging out and everyone else, because they're seen as those folks recognizing the labor that they give and the labor that everyone gives to a productive society. So, you know, Fidel was the one that comes at, you know, that vision. I don't know if he was the one specifically when the triumph, the revolution triumphed, and one of the first things they did was the literacy campaign.
Yes.
And sending the young people out into the countryside to teach what? You know, not that folks are not smart, not intelligent, but you're not didn't have the tools of learning because it was denied to the masses of folks. And so the young people went out to give the tools of literacy so folks could greater express the knowledge that they have in how a society should be run and the needs of society. And so those are kinds of visions that you know, Cuba, you know, has exemplified, you know, for the rest of us, and that light that they show for us. And I think that is the danger. That's why they hate Cuba. They want Cuba to be, you know, colonized and look like Puerto Rico, right? And we say Puerto Rico es libre, but they want Cuba to be like Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico
colonized.
is a colony of the United States.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, well, they put all kind of pretty words on it to make it sound like something else. It is not an independent country. It is a colony of the United States.
That's right. With citizenship imposed, you know, just like us.
Right. Exactly. Let me wind. I gotta wind this down now. And I'm glad you made it. I missed two of my dear comrades, and I was really looking forward to having them on because they're doing an incredible project, and I'll push that. I'll be pushing that out in the next several days. Yes, and a great project that they did.
If you're able to get the brothers on, it's a beautiful, beautiful. You know, culture is a weapon. Culture is a weapon, just like reading is a weapon of active liberation, and culture can be and should be our weapons of getting to our folks, and how do we express our creativity in all ways. So please do what you can. This year is not only.
Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, go.
This year is not only Fidel's centennial, it's also the centennial of somebody called John Coltrane. And you see over my shoulder is Malcolm. And the fathers.
I just rode through Hamlet, North Carolina today.
The train was born.
I just rode through there today. I happen to be in North Carolina right now, and on my way to Eastern North Carolina, and I happen to ride through Hamlet and ride through Shafah, North Carolina, which is the home of Dizzy.
How about that? But Malcolm and Train are the fountainheads of what became the Black Arts Movement. The Black Arts Movement was called the spiritual sister of the Black Liberation Movement.
That's right.
So we talk about lifting up culture as a weapon. Those are the traditions from which it springs for us. And we lift up all of that and put all weapons on the table. Don't leave none of them out. They don't leave none out. We don't leave none out.
And let me just go through another little piece. As I'm headed to Rocky Mount, North Carolina, to the neighborhood where Thelonious Monk was born.
That's right.
How about that?
The Madam Donna K. Williams has joined us, and she's got a special guest that she's about to bring on. But Donna, why don't you ask our ritual question to our guests as we wind this segment down?
Miss Shafia, did I pronounce your name right? Miss Shafia, can you hear me?
She might have froze.
No, Esther, can she hear? Can you hear me?
Shafia, can you hear? Do we able to hear her?
No, I cannot.
No, she couldn't.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Let me go ahead and
Ed,
answer.
Ed, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
I can hear you loud and
Yeah,
clear.
you're okay down there. She's just having trouble hearing.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So let me just, and I didn't tell y'all this. This is a hip hop political talk show, and folks hardly identify me with hip hop for all the reasons that they shouldn't, because I'm a jazz head, right? But as such, we ask everybody as they leave us, who in the land of hip hop are you listening to, or you have a favorite that helps you when you try and do the work that you're doing?
Wow. It ranges from John Coltrane to oh good gracious, the sister Fatimatu Diawara out of Mali.
Oh, that's a bad little sister. I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Yes. To Jonas Jobarte out of Mali. To Gambia. I'm sorry, she's out of Gambia. To Nina Simone. I think those are probably, and then there's a group out of, and their stuff there's not a whole lot of stuff from them, but there's a group out of northern Mississippi called the Afro-Sippy All-Stars that do a thing on drumming,
go ahead now. All
pipes
right.
and drums, that when you hear that music and then you hear some of Ali Farka Touré and music out of Mali, you start hearing some of the same kinds of rhythms, and you cannot tell the difference. So I'm a jazz fiend, I'm a blues fiend, I'm a West African world music. I listen to all of that.
There was, and then as you go, I always tell folks that I belong. My age set is a generation that's on the one arm started hip hop, but on the other arm took jazz into the 21st century, right? All them Marsalises and them Terrence Blanchards and all them people those
Yes.
are my that's my set, right?
Yes.
Betty Carter's baby, Winard Harper, who plays right in Jersey City every week right now. Those that was my crew.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then when I get sleepy in the car, when I get sleepy on the road, I put on the Free Sekou CD.
Oh, that was
with
powerful.
all of the artists who joined together to Free Sekou.
Yeah, I cussed them out because they wouldn't let me get on.
Oh well. Next one, bro. We got to do another one. Next one with you.
Yes, man. Appreciate you having you, Quinn.
Thank you, bro.
This is one of our drums. It's another drum that we got, right? So whoever needs to get something out, just let me know. We get it on. All right?
Sir. Thank you, y'all. Peace.
Right.
Free the land.
Free the land by any means necessary. We were talking about was Kotelemela Bolingo, which in Lingala, one of the languages of the Congo, is this incredible multimedia music mix that Obi Egbuna and Russell Shoatz Jr. did, and we'll have to have them back on to lift that up, right? Donna, take it away. Your guest is here. Let me wind down and let you do your thing.
All right. Continue in Black August. And did we start the show by saying happy birthday, Ed?
Yeah, we said happy birthday to Zai. And Zai was getting some shout outs. I think Kim hit him up in a big way. And, I don't think he saw that, but I'll put it back for him,
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
All right, there we go. Happy birthday, Siheed.
Lucky to have him, right? Because all the mess I've been through, I'm very lucky to be here.
So, Siheed, welcome to Zaid and Siheed. Welcome to All Politics Are Local. And this is your first time being here, Siheed. And Siheed is an artist, Zaid, so you'll be happy to know that. And he is here. He's a local activist here in Orange, New Jersey. And I seen him do a post this week that he published a new release called Sisters. But then he starts sending me all this other stuff. This is not the first time he published. He just made us know about Sisters. And he also does a cartoon for toddlers, a teaching cartoon. So we have a lot to unpack in this period of time so we can learn about Siheed and his book, Sisters. He liked to take that and turn it into a movie. So let's get to talking. And Siheed, you can tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit more. You're looking like a director back there, kind of looking like Gordon Parks, and a little bit of creativity going back there. I came to know Siheed because he has been trying to get local leadership. There's a program that they do where they put leadership in front of, let's say, like 20 constituents, and they ask them questions. And he's been trying to organize events like that to get the community out and get people civically engaged. And anybody that knows me, I love when people are civically engaged. And so I'm happy that he's here. And Siheed, I want you to know, I haven't ever said this to you, I believe art is a great way to educate people, whatever the storyline may be, whether we're trying to get them to know something that's right before their eyes, or if there's, just trying to do it for the sake of storytelling. I believe that art reaches the unreachable and sometimes teaches the unteachable. So I'm happy to have you here, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your new book, Sisters.
All right, peace. Thanks for having me. First of all, can y'all hear me? Am I loud enough? All right.
But talk up a little bit more.
Okay. My name is Siheed Cleveland. I'm born and raised Newark, New Jersey, Orange, New Jersey. I've been an artist all my life, from rapping hip hop, storytelling, to now to publishing books. I shot a couple of movies. I'm a director, and yes, all of my books, I'm trying to turn them into movies. It's just kind of hard to actually get a movie done. I didn't know it was that hard, but it is. But yeah, I love doing this. I actually worked at a school in Chatham for a couple of years, and I just resigned to do this full time. I love it. I really enjoy shooting, being behind the camera. I do have a school bus company, so I'm not like freelancing out there. I do have a steady income. I'm a contractor with the commissions and stuff like that. So I have a fleet of school buses that gives me the time to actually go and direct or go and shoot, because it's not $1 million in it yet. I'm not one of them dudes yet. So my income comes from the school buses, and I worked at the school because I love the children. And one of my drivers called out on me, so I was actually taking a student to school, and the school wanted me to work there. They was like, "Oh my God, you got to work here." I don't know what you did with the student, but transition from the bus to the school is not as bad. I don't want to use the word as bad, but he's not the same way he used to be. So at first I was like, I ain't got the time. Then the mother asked me, she said, "Oh my God, he's even helping in the house. Could you please be with him all day? The school going to give you X amount of dollars, whatever you ask for." So I actually did it. And I've been with the student for 5 years now, and he just graduated. So once he graduated, I retired. Well, resigned. I didn't wish I retired, but I resigned. But yeah, now I'm just sitting here publishing my books. I wrote books since 2018. I was writing books, but now I'm publishing them myself because everybody was trying to charge me $25,000, $5,000, $8,000 to publish a book when you can publish a book for free on Amazon. The copyright costs about $65. and that's so nobody can use your work. So some people might think you can go on Amazon and it's copywritten. Yes, it's copywritten, but not in a sense where as though you could take somebody to court. But once you go to the patent office or the copyright office and upload your work there, then you could take somebody to court if they use your stuff. So that's what I did. We as a community, we need to own our rights to anything we create. So if you out here creating something, either get it patented, get it copywritten, just cover yourself. So that's it.
So let me, yeah, that's something. You have a couple of books that you've already published. So tell me a little bit about Sisters, because you said they came together, they met, now they have a lifetime to learn each other. And I thought that was interesting because I am part of a family where my father has children by my mom and my brother's mother as well. So I have same father, and of course they have different moms. So tell us a little bit about Sisters and what inspired that story.
The inspiration came because two people asked me to be in a movie, and I didn't have something that fit them. So I was like, "Dang, let me write something for them." So I just started writing something about a black woman and a white woman, and I just wanted them to be sisters. So it was like, okay, let me get a white guy who had sex with a black woman and a white woman and created a baby. And now these two sisters did a blood test. They went to the funeral, they did a blood test. Come to find out they are sisters. So they met and they became close friends. And the journey started at that coffee shop. So it's like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot to it. I was actually impressed. Like when I'm writing, I get goosebumps. Like I get tunnel vision because I used to smoke weed. I used to drink, smoke cigarettes, Black and Miles, e-cigarette, but I stopped. Like 2020, 21, I stopped. I haven't did anything. I'm drug free. I don't do anything. And this writing gets me in that state of mind that I used to get in when I picked up a blunt. So now I love writing. So that's all I do. Like I write all day. And Sisters is the first thing that I published, but it was the last thing that I wrote. It was actually the last thing I wrote, but the first thing that I published. I guess because it was in my queue right there. And once I learned how to publish, I just was like, let me do this one. So I formatted the book, formatted the cover. It took a couple of tries because they kept pushing it out. It was a learning curve to actually learn how to publish your own book. But I saved myself over $10,000 on the books that I did publish. So that was good. Now everything I make is profit. I have friends that's actually supporting, buying a book. Some family members too. Hey, family. I didn't think it was gonna happen with family, but family kicking up. They're kicking up. Yeah, salute to the fans. But yeah, it's a good thing. The first day I got that email saying I'm published, my heart just started racing. I was excited, talked to my wife, and she was the first person to buy the book. She made me sign it too. That was
But
funny.
that you got people that go their whole life and maybe everybody says we have a book in us, but the whole concept of just actually putting something on paper, and I'm visualizing you must have a room somewhere full of composition books that you just been writing in, and because I'm a big journaler, but to actually go from concept to shelf is something that's pretty incredible, and the thought of wanting to put it into a play is something is something else. And I hope that you're right in between two communities. West Orange is in the process of building some movie studios, and North has already, they're a little bit further along. And I know Mayor Baraka is doing a lot of training in terms of behind the film and
Lionsgate is
things
coming
like
to Newark.
good.
Yeah, Lionsgate is coming to Newark.
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah. I'm connected to a couple of people in the Raz camp. Keisha Yuri, love her to death.
Do we know that name, Keisha Yuri? That's family here. Okay.
Hope she's family to the road.
She family to me. But yeah, I actually work out of my phone. I actually, whenever I'm doing anything and it's something come ahead, I'll pick up my phone and I'll jot it down. If I before I go to sleep and I think of something, I jot it down. If I wake up and I had a dream, I try to jot it down so I can remember my dream. And a lot of times I wake up writing, go to sleep writing. That's just my thing. So I actually don't have journals that I've written in and all of that. Actually, my phone has an extensive library of my work. Here's the book Sisters. This is the book Sisters. This one right here. This book was inspired by a few people who actually lost loved ones, and I actually wanted to help them not get through the process, but live with the process and not tell somebody how to grieve, but help them grieve. Because everyone grieves different. So this book, um, it was an amazing write. I'm proud of this book right here. Uh, my sisters, my cousin Lanisha, my sister Taisha, my wife, my other sister Kabrina, and my mother. I dedicated the book to them, plus my family and friends who actually lost loved ones. The Cleveland family, the Cleveland clan, we lost a lot of people. We lost a tribe. So I had to dedicate the book to them. And
So,
it
Don,
actually got crossword
Puzzles in here.
Wait, say 1 second. What are you gonna say, Ed?
can we talk about what the book is about? I mean, how did it come about? What is it about? Is it an
Yeah,
autobiography? It's
go
the
ahead, ask the question.
book, is it? You know,
What you talking about? The grieving book?
no, my sisters, right? The
Because
most
we asked that question and he said it was about two sisters they met. We asked that. But go ahead. Say it again, Saeed.
I showed
two separate books. So which book is he referring to?
Sisters. When you were saying how the sisters came together and they were and they met and they took a blood test. Good.
yeah,
let's talk about the book.
Wait, I didn't hear what the last part he said.
So let's talk about the book, right? So how did you get the idea? And, talk
the
about
ideas in the ether.
right? You know,
The ideas in the ether, I just pull from the ether. I just pull from the universe and just start writing sometimes. And once I start writing, I use things in my personal life to throw into the book. But
so the book is
say that again.
so the book is fiction.
It's fiction, yes. Yes, it's fiction. Yeah, it is fiction. It's a fiction book. I have nonfiction books. I have supernatural books. I wrote uh, I wrote a book about vampires.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wrote
But,
yeah.
spec-
Yeah, I want
but,
to talk
spec-
about this book, though.
but specifically about sisters. So you went back and you said it was about two sisters that met, and they took a DNA test and they found out that they were actual sisters, and then they built a relationship. So just expound more on about the book,
yeah,
sisters.
yeah. Let's
well,
talk about the journey.
And he said he didn't want to give a lot of it
yeah,
away, and he
yeah, I
said they
did
start
give
building
a
a
little bit
relationship.
away.
He did tell a little bit about it.
Yeah, like if y'all if we can actually do this again once you read it, and then you can have questions on it. But yeah, it's basically about two sisters putting the pieces together about their father because they had some resentment for their father, and it's. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh, you making bad fathers look good." I'm like, "No, because you don't know everybody's story." So it's not about me making someone look good. It's about telling their story. So put it like this: two sisters was mad at their father, and they putting pieces together. It was like, yo, he was never there for me in November. Well, my birthday in November. He was with me for 2 weeks. He'd stay at the Rinky Dink Hotel down the street, and he was with me. Oh, that's why I couldn't find him in November. But then the other one, oh, on my graduation, he was supposed to buy me a bike, but he couldn't. Oh, because I graduated college and he came and gave me a lot of money for my graduation. So they putting the pieces together, making helping each other understand their father a little better. Um, and at the end, they actually came to respect their father. They lost the hate for someone. Tell his own story. He couldn't tell his own story, so his children told his story and pieced the puzzles together for them. So it's actually a a nice family book because I know some people out there don't have their father or wish they can ask their father questions, and they have siblings, and some of our people are even beefing with their siblings, and I say this, um, forgiving your sibling, it only helps you. Let We have to learn to let it go, learn to forgive. Is only healthy for you. It's unhealthy to hate. It's unhealthy to keep that inside. It's so my thing is we need to learn how to forgive. Uh, Like some people, they'll go forever not talking to their family over something real small, but they'll stay with somebody that's beating on them or cheating on them, and they'll stay with that person, but cut off a family member for something minute. So this story is putting the pieces together that the sisters really needed, um, and is basically a love story about family. It's showing that family can learn to jump hurdles together, and we can actually move forward together. It's I don't want to give too much away.
Well, let me go ahead,
Wait,
Ed.
but let
Go
me,
ahead.
let me ask you this. Is there a particular passage in the book that you could read, right, to our audience that would sort of tell us, or something that would encapsulate what this book is all about? Is there a passage that you could read? Almost like if someone went to the back of that book, you know, would you get an idea of what this book is all about? But normally a writer, or someone who does a movie or something will, they'll
Well, the
leave
one liner is in the back of the book.
you know.
Is a one liner in the back of the book that will tell the whole, and You don't even have to buy the book. You can go on Amazon and it'll tell you about Maya Sinclair. She's a defense attorney. And then Chloe, it'll tell you about Chloe a little bit, and it'll break down their journey. And it's basically in a
These are the two characters that the book is about, right?
yes.
Okay. And so there's no chapter that you want to read to us from that book that would give us sort of an idea as to illustrate what it is that you were talking about a moment ago.
Passage in the book. Oh man.
Well, while you're searching through that, let me ask you. One thing that draws me a lot to books is situational. You were born and raised in North, and living in Orange. Is the setting in Orange or New Jersey or anything like that? Where's the setting of the book?
The setting is actually on the beach, on a boardwalk. Actually, I did a lot of it on a boardwalk because I've learned when I'm writing, the more locations you have, the harder it is to shoot. So a lot of their interactions, even with the guys that they met, was on a boardwalk. I wanted to keep it simple. My first series, it was actually a movie, and I wrote too much, so it became a series. I got so many different locations, and it's gonna cost me over $200,000 to shoot. So now I'm actually writing books with 1 to 2, 3 locations tops, to keep it simple and shooting. A lot of stuff happens in the book, but the screenplay and a novel are like totally different. But this mainly is on a boardwalk. It's mainly on a boardwalk. Some of it is in Asbury Park. Some of it is in Atlantic City. It's mainly on the beach.
And do you actually say do you get that specific to say, hey, we're walking down past, I don't know, in Asbury Park, Wendy Williams Street, or do you get specific like that, or you generalize more?
One of the streets was specific because they were meeting at a restaurant, and they actually had to say where the restaurant was at. So yeah, one of them was specific. Even walking down the boardwalk, I love walking down the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Even the boardwalk. What's that?
All right. Well, we want to next.
Let me tighten up because I'm coming to an end. But I do want to thank you because I know, like I said to you in the beginning, I come from a family where, because you just tightened it up by saying, families are different, but a splintered family, I may have said at one time. But same mother, same father, different mothers. But if you look across all of us, we just call all of ourselves brothers and sisters, and sometimes it gets different to other people, but we're very close, even though we have different parents and things like that. So I'm sure, with somebody, just because of what you said, some people will break hurdles to do things for other people and they won't do it inside their own family. That's a very powerful statement. So I hope that that somebody finds themselves in that book, because you even saying that was a big, something to me, because I know that's how my family is made up. So I wanted to keep you to encourage writing, keep encouraging you to write. and we're going to talk to you some more, because you got a lot. You're, like I said, an activist. I didn't realize you were a hip hop artist as well. This is a hip hop political show, and when you're doing the work that you do, is there a hip hop artist, individual, or group that you listen to?
Um, I've I have extensive playlists, um, from Jay Z to J Cole to Kendrick to Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill, Rakim, like, oh man, it's too many. It's too many artists in my playlist to actually name them all. We'll be sitting here.
I said, give me one. Give me one.
The ones I just gave you. I don't
Okay,
have a
that's
favorite.
fair.
Yeah, I don't have a
Okay.
favorite artist.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite. I
Okay.
I have a playlist, and it's just a group of different talented brothers and sisters who make me feel a type of way, where as though they put me in a zone to actually work. Like I listen to them and I'm ready to work. A Tupac song could get me in a mood to write something. A Jay-Z song, a J. Cole song. It's even some of the new artists, I could hear them and still want to write. So I don't have a favorite. I can't say the best album. I don't use
No,
those.
you don't got to. And we thank you for that. And we got our next guest coming on. So don't be a stranger. Listen out, and we'll, reach out again. And we wish you success. And after I read the book, I'm gonna let you know about it, okay?
All right.
Because you're right up my alley with that.
Yeah, and if you send me this link, I don't know how I can find y'all. I never saw this before, so I would love to tune in sometimes, make some comments. So yeah, just send me.
All politics are local. The letter
And
R.
I'll send you the link.
Live on YouTube, live on Facebook, every Friday, 6 to 9 Eastern Time.
All right, I'm there.
All right.
I'm there.
And I'm sending you the link right now.
All right, thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all, and
Okay.
peace and blessings to y'all.
All right. Be blessed and talk to you soon, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
These next moments, we're going to, and I'm getting feedback from somebody, I don't know where. We're going to have a full discussion. And we're going to have a few people coming on, right? Pam Africa is going to join us. So Safi, stay on camera. You're right. You're fine. You're fine. I don't want to lose you. All right. Mariposa Fernandez is coming back. Tag is supposed to be jumping in, right? So this is going to be the screen's going to be full in a minute. In a minute, but we're putting together an intergenerational appreciation of a fallen comrade of mine and ours, and the late Johanna Fernández. Mariposa was on just a couple of weeks ago. We were doing a similar conversation to uplift Denise Oliver, and they left each other 15 days apart. And so our hearts are heavy, but we're very excited to, very proud to be able to lift up this great sister who did so much in so little time to try and really get us going, right? Now tradition says you start with the elder, and Pam hasn't gotten on yet, right? Right. So that means that I got to come to somebody else first, right? But I should say, let me just say, wow, I can remember the day I met Johanna, right? When she came to us, and Johanna was fully present everywhere she went. But the day I met her, she was actually quite, she was polite, modest, humble. Brought a few of her students with us. We had a rally that was supposed to be a big rally that turned out to be a small rally on 7th Avenue and 126th Street, and me and Pam was mad, right? And within a year, she drops Justice on Trial. And bam, it was like A weapon had exploded in our enemy's lap in our favor. I'm gonna put it like that because I'm an old soldier, right? And then she really began to be a force for us at a time when we needed a fresh voice to do all that we did for Mumia. And I will say this also, with that film, it made a direct impact on Philly. What do I mean? For years, we say that we have an international campaign to free Mumia Abu Jamal. We do. And that international arm is what generated all of the traffic, volume, attention that Mumia got that ultimately saved him from death row and 2 execution dates. It took years for us to get support for him right in Philadelphia. Justice on Trial was a turning point for that. I have to put that right, but put a pin in that. And then, of course, then she drops this groundbreaking book on the Lords, on the Mighty Young Lords Party, right? And it is a go-to reference for every real scholar and on a subject that should have a lot more scholarship coming its way and coming out on it. So I just wanted to put a pin on what she means to us. And now y'all lucky Pam just got here.
I'm at a dinner. I'm at a dinner for brother Muhammad Ahmed. It's his 85th birthday.
85 years young.
85, yeah, and I'm one of the ones
Muhammad
that's
Ahmed
blessed.
is a hugely important transitional figure,
Oh, yes,
right? For right
yes.
in the middle period in the Black Liberation Movement, in the golden age of the 60s, right after Malcolm leaves us, right? And that radical arm of the movement comes forward and starts talking about self-defense and revolution and cheek turning and nonviolence as to get a different kind of look, right? Muhammad Ahmed is one
Yeah.
of the theoreticians and organizers straight out of the Philadelphia that was key to that. So thank you, Pam, for lifting that up. Now we're just starting this conversation. Now you the elder in the conversation.
Oh,
I tried to set the stage for the conversation. All right. And just as you
okay.
were coming in. So why don't you in your own way tell us about on why we must support, lift up our sister Johanna Fernandez now that she is in the land of the ancestors.
Oh, lift her up. We got to do for her what she did for us. And I remember when Johanna first came on the scene, and full of energy, and wanting to do. I'm moving around because I'm on the street. It's really
That's all right.
noisy in the
That's all right.
restaurant.
That's how we
Um,
ride.
ducking cars. Yeah, but this young sister, she came into a movement. This was at the height that everything was moving and everything was going really good. She brought something to this movement that was different. And Mark Teller started with academics for Mamiya, but she came in and took it to a whole nother level. I remember we had already did Madison Square Garden for Mamiya and a couple other big places. And we was doing the school for children coming along. We was doing Benjamin Franklin High School because that's where Mumia was beaten, and or when they tried to name it after Malcolm X High. And we was having these things there, and the police was taking over because there was security there, and every time we had an event, it was a problem. And also she said, "Why don't we do the Constitutional Center?" Hmm? The Constitutional Center. This is day stuff. My thoughts at that particular time, but with that example of that, it brought in a whole lot of newer people who had not been involved. One thing I mean, there's a lot I liked about Johanna, but if she was going to take on, like she suggested, the Constitutional Center, she didn't leave the work on us to do. Johanna pulled together a group of people to work with her, from her academic field, and it was one of the most amazing events that we had at the Constitutional Center. And it raised a lot of controversy because the FOP, the Fraternal Foods on Parade, FOP, what they wanted to do. was shut it down. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell you,
Mm-hmm.
our constitutional center, honey, we felt that thing from inside, outside, and another one when I'm just saying she just brought a whole different, atmosphere, with her, and she brought the people with her. That was, how Johanna worked. And she was really about young folks and all, because when I was invited to a few of the colleges up there, and I had been working with people from the Puerto Rican community, from the whole, I want to say words wrong. I want to say Spanish community, if that's the right term, but I was brought to colleges, where a lot of people from the Puerto Rican community and stuff was there, and I got deeper involved with a lot more youth, and in that community. Um, Unions, she was involved in. It's just not enough that could be said. And she, let me tell you, she was a damn good sister. And me and her, we used to argue at night. I mean, we sisters, okay? And we argue about strategies and things. But when the deal came down, we just went ahead and continued to work. It was never a thing where a point that we was arguing over that didn't get resolved, or you learn, because I'm thinking that something can't work, the way she's saying it, and she was thinking something couldn't work, and we found out it all worked. And what you find out in this movement, it's not no one idea, it's not an either or. You got to deal with everybody's ideas on how to deal with this system, because it wasn't just Mumia. And and what I liked about her too, is that she was an academic, and she was not afraid to stand on that front line with everybody else. When we had to step to the police at their home, she was right there in the front line. She didn't step back, I can't make it today. She was right there when we went up to the prisons and things, and she was right there, arguing with the administration, dealing with the doctors. In fact, this, stop me if I'm going too long, but here's a good example of what was going on at a point that Johanna was in, and she was helping to bring people in from New York. You always had that good New York base, but she brought a whole nother crowd of young folks and things with her.
Sure thing.
Mumia was fighting the battle with the hepatitis C, and at the same time, the Fraternal Order Police, they was desperately trying to kill him. What they did with Maureen Faulkner, they was trying to get a law passed, which meant that anybody, like this radio show, would be illegal, and you get locked up for having this issue of, well, it would be the issue of Johanna, because Johanna was involved with Mumia. Anything involved with Mumia, if you wrote a book, if you hosted a house party and it was Mumia, they was trying to get this law passed. So Mumia is got a case going on in court. He's battling, hepatitis C, which we didn't know that's what it was at that particular time. He
Right,
was
right.
very sick in the prison, and you got the Faulkners and the FOP trying to stop him from being heard at all, or any support that was happening, and when they had a case in Harrisburg, we won that case. We won that case, and it was won by the people pulling together. Because how in the hell can you come up with a thing of like anybody that speak out for Mumia could be, locked up? I mean, top notch lawyers from everywhere got involved in this. We won it, and Johanna and Heidi Begosha then was to go up to the prison because Mumi was sick to get
Did she freeze? Oh man. But she's telling a great story, and then some of y'all know that story. And of course, that was a dangerous transition for me. And it's ironic that she's talking about an attempt to have us legally censored. And this is almost 10 years ago now, better than 10 years, right?
Said that
And here we
Mumia
are.
had
Yeah, you
hepatitis
froze
C.
for a second,
But
Pam.
when we won that case, when Johanna and them went to the prison, a guard told them, somebody that was caring, and said they rushed Mumia to the hospital.
Right.
Told them where. They get to the hospital. We sitting down, we having a good time because we don't won this thing. We don't whip these suckers on down again. Got Maureen Faulkner and them, just messed up. And we get this phone call from Johanna. She's at the hospital, her and Heidi, where they had Mumia at, and they done managed to get around in the hospital, get on the floor, and in the room next door to Mumia. They called us,
He
and
had
all of us
gone into
wound
a
up in there.
diabetic coma.
And what I'm saying is, she was somebody who was not afraid to take that extra step. Because when you
Yes, ma'am.
go there and they tell you, well, she took the hospital, her and Heidi just acted like, and they were supposed to
Acted like
be there.
lawyers.
They searched around, found where the emergency ward was at, found out, but they didn't know that Mumia was in the next room.
Wow.
And
Wow.
but we wound up staying there overnight, all night, and with Mumia. It's so many different great things that happened on her watch. And the fact that she went to Palestine, and with a whole lot of courageous people who took that step to go to Palestine and to bring back the truth about what was going on. She wasn't afraid to live, and then to find out that her upbringing from her father, and
Your daughter telling me.
who insisted that they lived on the principle of giving, of being involved, and also from the root she was rooted, and she was a giving person. I know one time I was sick and I needed my blood pressure machine wasn't working, and I was talking with her on the phone. And I said, damn, I said, this daggone machine's not working. She said, what, you need a blood pressure machine? I said, yeah. I said, I'll get one. I wasn't going to get it that day. And, I'm thinking about a couple of days later. And following morning, or it might have been that evening, and here they was delivering. She had called and had a real high-tech, blood pressure machine given to me when I was over in France, and not in France, when I was in Tanzania with Charlotte O'Neill. And I didn't know how the money got spent, but I wound up spending more money than I supposed, and I needed more money. And I called her to get in contact with somebody else for me, and she said, "Don't worry about it." She shipped that money. I mean, she put that money on my phone, um, in my account, so I can make sure that I had the money that was needed. She never would leave me stranded, and that's the way she was with a lot of people. And
Wow.
she was
Let,
a
let me
she
let me
was a
jump in.
sister.
Yeah.
um
Let
she
me jump in.
is
I
a
want
sister, and for
she can
people to
hear me.
think that Johanna is gone, Johanna isn't gone. Johanna is right here with us every day. You can go up on YouTube, you can pull her down and see the principles that she stood at demonstrations, and the mere fact that she was one of the ones that did a great film on Mumia. And when the government was doing a hit piece, Johanna did a very honest piece, and it wound up just being shown everywhere. The hit piece that the government was doing um, was something that wound up disappearing, and because it was
It
full
was
of
bad. It
lies,
was a
and
lousy
it
flick. It
just
was
didn't
busting up behind
didn't
with it.
float. It didn't even float for the FOP. But Johanna's film, and the work that she, Kaepernick, people think that she just went and was being done. It took months, because number one, he don't know Mumia, and he's dealing with people that's around him that is protective of his image. And Mumia, within that realm of people, and he's the people that they tell, you know, um, people to stay away
Stay
from.
away from.
And
Yes.
Johanna was consistent. She kept going, and to make sure that he understood, and that he wanted to get involved. And then he said, "Well, all the different things that she had. It took months. It took months of work and, pulling paperwork together so that he can understand and sitting down and talking with him. That stuff didn't just up and happen, because a lot of people say, wow, Kaepernick came out for Mumia. But the work that went into getting that brother to do what it is that he said he was going to do. And that's the way it
All of
was,
those things moved the
with
needle.
several things, with Johanna. She was a breath of fresh air. She is, I hate using was, she is a breath of fresh air. And like I said, for people who question, about who she was, what she done, there are so many documentaries that and events that we had that you can see her speaking. She was very consistent with telling the truth about Mumia and the things that she wanted to do. She was a great organizer. Right now we are scuffling. And I don't mind saying it. We are scuffling, because it's been one hit after another, and it's over 40-something years that we've been dealing with the case. And one thing that this government said that they was going to wear us down with time. Well, see, that time haven't got there because we're still here, and a lot of us have went to another level, and but the great work that they did, like with Dave Richardson, oh my God, and um, Brother Ward Churchill.
He
Brother
just left.
Ward Churchill
Yeah,
passed, and Sister
just
Betty
left.
called me the other day. She
Hmm.
was checking on him about doing her show, and his wife told him that he had passed that night. And that's another great. He was always right there on the
Let me
front
bring these other
line for
heads into this.
Mumia and
Can
for
you hear
other
me, Pam?
people. And
Can
he
you hear
was
me?
a drum beater for
She can't hear
freedom.
me. Donna, jump in. She
Mama,
can't hear
Mama
me.
Africa, can you hear
Huh?
me? Can you hear me?
Oops,
Can you
I'm
hear
missing
me?
you.
Yeah,
Can
she
you
can't.
hear me now?
She can't hear us. She can't
Okay.
hear us. That's why she's on
Sophia,
the phone.
see if she can hear one of
Oh no,
y'all.
I can't. I just heard you say she can't hear us,
Oh,
and
you heard me say you can't?
I
No.
heard that, but I couldn't hear nothing else.
No,
Oh,
that's
And
all
okay.
right. I'm gonna
Baba
repeat back.
Saeed said he wants to get in.
so,
He
like I
wants to
said,
make
and right now we're hosting and
Robin, see if she
with
can hear you.
brother Ahmed,
Mama Pam.
and the leader of the
She's
Amazing
outside.
Ram organization.
Yes.
Yep,
Revolution
I'm ducking
Action.
cards and stuff while we be talking.
That's all right. Let me bring these young heads in. Let me bring the young ones in. All
Oh
right.
yes, okay.
Okay.
If she set the table, and y'all are gonna have time too. All right, because they blocked out an hour for us to have this
Mm,
conversation. Safi, come on camera in. I ain't letting you get away. Right? I don't know where tagged on. We'll go tag it. He need to be in this conversation too. Right? Because
I'm
y'all can
here.
have
I'm here.
time. Right? Robert, I'm gonna pivot to you because you also one of our favorite warrior scholars, right? And you are in that CUNY system with Johanna,
Yes.
and y'all been through some things together, and you've also lifted up some things that we needed to be reminded about as ongoing right now. And I want to make sure you include that in your remarks about the Latinx Freedom exhibit that is so important. That's on exhibit now that some of us are going to be checking out in the Mississippi Minute. Come on, and why don't you jump on in and tell us about your sister and your comrade?
It has been beautiful to hear people speak on Johanna because she was doing so many more things than like anyone could have imagined. She was operating in so many different spheres. I want to call out, of course, her consistency, the fact that she was a frontline person who, if you see the pictures of her, so many of those pictures are her with a megaphone, with a microphone, speaking at rallies. She was a rousing speaker. She could really like just bring a crowd to their feet, not just in that emotional moment, but she would make you want to organize alongside her. That's how she spoke. That was a gift. I liken it to our brother Willie Ricks Mukasa, and
Casa.
when he said Black Power,
I can't hear
and he
anything.
rallied the crowd. That's the power of a good speaker. Can you hear me, Mama Pam?
Keep talking. She's gonna have trouble hearing you because she's
Oh, because of her
outside.
background.
I
Okay.
don't hear anything.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Okay, well, that was one of the things. That was her role. You know, one of her roles in the movement. And there's so many lessons from her life. And I think the second thing I want to pick out and lift up about her is the way that she took.
Robin, I'm sorry, just a second. Stop it. If you maybe while Robin is talking, if you can call her and explain
I'm
to
on a
her
Zoom,
if she can
so
mute.
I'm gonna sit this.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Let me do that.
No worries, no worries. I was going to say the tools that she had available to her, because at any job they're giving you tools, and those tools can be used for reaction or for revolution. And she took the tools of her job, which people use sometimes just to benefit their career, to engage with more capitalism, to, you know, advance individualistically up a ladder. She took those tools and she put them in the hands of the people. So everything that she did, from her museum work at the end of her life, and the fact that she was focused on this Latin American freedom discourse and museum exhibits that were going to tour, that are touring the country. And that is so important because it's in the context of that 250th anniversary of America and the struggle over what America even means to the rest of us, right? The us that have been trapped and oppressed and caged and silenced. You know, she took this mandate of tell us about what the United States is, and she made that into a platform to talk about Black people of color, to talk about the Young Lords, to talk about struggle, and to insist that we're not going to have this nice celebration of, you know, all, you know, make America great again. We're going to have a real authentic understanding of what this country is, what it meant, and the people who had to continually struggle to remake this country. So that's one thing she did. Her writing skills, oh my gosh, she wrote so many things. In addition to speaking on the mic, she wrote so many articles, essays,
Hi.
you know, really just to
All
educate
right.
people
You look
about.
very nice.
She took in the case, and she could be counted upon to give you a nugget, a legal briefing that was clear, that was concise, that you could understand. Because sometimes so many, I mean, we have so many beloved political prisoners, right? You know, and some have been released in these years, but even still, she was able to take the legal language and put it in a way that the ordinary person could understand, to let us know what are next steps, what's happening, what are some viable strategies that can be pursued. She was a translator in that case. She translated using her academic skills from all of that legalese into the language that people could understand. The next thing I want to say about her is that she also was somebody who saw justice as indivisible. She went to Palestine, as was mentioned. She went to Cuba earlier in her her trajectory. She traveled to the Dominican Republic all the time on family things. She went to Puerto Rico. She got involved in the Middle East. She went and spent a Fulbright semester, I believe it was in Jordan. She was not someone, she was rooted in Blackness, but then she saw that Blackness as a springboard to the world, to really undoing the oppression of people around the world, people within the United States. She was not chauvinistic. It's all about one group or anything like that. She was about larger ideals of justice. And
Robin, I want to put a pin in that. Let me just jump in and help you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put a pin in that because, you know, I'm gonna tell you, you know, we need to. There is a burgeoning conversation of discovery and recovery of identity among Afro Latinos, right? And it's no accident, I would dare say, that we would get somebody like Johanna coming from a place that has a very dark past and present in terms of anti-Black racism in Latin America.
Yep.
That is the Dominican Republic. So her emergence from that background to the place of international presence that you just described is something I just thought we should put a pin in. right?
Definitely.
And I appreciate, and we didn't get a chance to really introduce you the way you should have been introduced either. I mean, you gave us a valuable book that we love. Well, a revolution has come.
Yes.
And
If
lifting
only.
up our sisters in the Black Panther Party. And I, unapologetically, will tell everybody that I was raised by Black women in the Black Panther Party, and I'll name them if you need me to do that, right? Only one's
You
left.
said
That's the late Rosemary Millie, right?
you said Robin. You said Robin was a part of the CUNY family. Was Joanna still actively at CUNY when she okay? That's what I want to. Okay.
She was as present as much as she could be to find that cancer that ultimately claimed her. But now let me pivot and then bring the kids in, particularly Safi, because as you focus on the question of gender justice in the party, that's something that Johanna was very outspoken about too. And that even emerged in our ranks at a time and forced us to have a difficult conversation that a lot of us were uncomfortable having, that evolved around some of us in this conversation. Safi, you remember that. You want to jump in and tell a story about your mentor, and then Tag, you jump in too, right? And Tag is the lone brother in this conversation, right? And that's something to be said about that, how a young man and all of the backwards hedonism and sexism and misogyny that's in hip hop in his generation, how he comes at the foot of this bad young Black Latina sister, right? Jumping in some revolutionary stuff when he could be doing something very different, given the climate that he's in. So y'all jump in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Baba Zaid. Again, happy birthday, shouts to you. It's been really humbling hearing all these amazing tributes and just reflections and stories about our dear Johanna. She definitely, as was said, she definitely was someone that fought for justice. And in a way, as you said, when it came to the things that were happening in our movement with abuse and power struggle when it comes to older men at the time that did things that were unlike what we were fighting for. I remember one time she told me, that we can't be for justice in the spotlight and be for BS behind closed doors, right? We cannot be hypocritical in that sense. And so, yeah, in many ways, we had issues within our own work, in our closer circles of abuse, of sexual predation, of just control, and the way in which uh, the belief that one could just go from organization to organization and snake through and do the same things over and over. And Johanna stood against that. She stood against those kinds of acts and called it out for what it is, rang the alarm, so to speak. And so we in the Mumia campaign, the campaign to bring Mumia home, we decided to host a time of gathering with older elders and young comrades and everyone in between to call out this kind of behavior when it comes to our close circles, and realizing that there will be some form of backlash. And a lot of that stuff came onto her in ways that people just did not know, and we had to work through that together as a collective in order to not just support her in it, but also support ourselves in continuing the struggle. And so we always do what we have to do for the front lines. We do what we have to do in fighting against police brutality, the injustices inside our prisons, the global struggles. But not many times, many of us feel the need to call out the abuses inside of our circles. And, one of the things I've learned so much from her is, how is it we're going to build a world, build a society where we want these kinds of freedoms and these kinds of ways of living, but we're not willing to model that in our own small spaces, right? So yeah, she never backed down against calling out those kinds of abuses. And we went through a time together where it was not easy to do, where the people you would think would stand with you actually sought a different position on it. But here we are today.
Yes, yeah. And why don't you lean more? I mean, how was she then? And she was also your teacher,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How was she? When how did the light turn on for you? Right, by being touched by her as a teacher.
Yeah, for me, it was in the classroom, the first day of class. I think the ending of
First day of
August.
class.
Yeah, man, in the end of August in 2011, I went in for the civil rights movement class, and I figured, okay, I just need to prove to Baruch that I'm a full-time student. This is the civil rights class. Martin Luther King had a dream, easy A. That's how lost I was. That was really my thinking. And the first day I remembered, she mentioned three names: Nina Simone, Mumia Abu Jamal, and Bob Marley. And something rang through with me right there. Two of those names, well, I definitely didn't know Mumia's name, and I think I knew Nina Simone's name. And from there, that's where it took off, you know.
But you're a daughter of Jamaica, so you recognize Mr. Marley name.
Right,
Okay.
right. How could I not recognize Bob? But yeah, man, she was really a different kind of teacher. It was just hard to put into words. I used to say that I used to remember the homework questions, and I'm like, wait, is this grad school or undergrad school? Because it was just, for me at the time, it was tough questions, and I used to feel that, why is it so hard? Why am I being pushed so much? But as the light turned on for me, I went from lost to found. I understood why those questions were the way they were, and every time I came into the classroom barely doing the homework because I didn't understand how to put my words together. It made sense when she went over the answers, and it was just different, man. It's hard to explain. There's a way that she explains the most hardest things in a simple way, and it makes you get it, but it also makes you want to learn it more yourself. She pushed every student to be their best. For her, it wasn't about getting a grade. It's about, what is it doing for you as a human being? Like, is it helping you to recognize, your roots, and helping you recognize some of what we've led to believe as the truth. And so I was mesmerized, and I also felt like there was some connection from that first day. Like, we understood each other's background without knowing each other. And I said, well, let me take another course the next semester with her, because at one point I thought I would leave Baruch. I wasn't getting into the business school again. Thought that was it for me. And then I heard about this guy Mumi, and I kept researching him all semester. We spoke with him on the phone on death row, and we were just moved by how he sounded, by how he answered us and rapped with us while on death row. And that was the same year, same semester. There was the constitutional event, constitutional center event.
Mm-hmm.
Mumia was coming off of death row, and they took a
Mm-hmm.
good month, if not more, to get him transferred. And we were hearing all those stories, and in the same breath, she had to be a bit cautious on what she can say, just because it's the academic world, and not all students may be keen to that. But that was the one time we actually listened, and we actually took the work seriously when she would speak about Mumia. And for me, as I said, I was very not aware of these topics, reading Mumia's books, reading aspects of Malcolm X, learning the deep truths about society. I was just mesmerized. So I did take a 60s in America course the next semester, and that just made things go further along. And ever since, it just I had to get into this work, into the freedom struggle for Mumia. And I said, well, let me approach her one day during her office hours and just tell her how much you've impacted my life, and I really want to get involved in this struggle. And ever since, it's been an amazing, humbling experience to have her as a direct mentor, and to learn from her outside of the classroom, which is different from inside of the classroom, and being able to do work amongst her, but also the many people she was able to introduce me to when it comes to the freedom struggles. And I know we have others here, so I don't want to take up too much time.
No, but you captured Johanna, the master teacher. Thank you for that. Right? You captured that. I'm on now. Mariposa just pop back in. Mariposa, I don't know how much you got to hear from everybody else because I know you've been in and out trying to get yourself situated. But we've said a lot. But when we were talking last, and you were sharing me those last pictures that you had of Johanna, we had to come to terms with the fact that out of us, you were probably one of the last to actually see her. And when we were together here last, what were we doing? We were talking about Denise Oliver. We were losing Denise, right? So here we are again, talking about somebody who's not an elder, but somebody who's your peer, your age set, and y'all, as far as we concerned, y'all still young, right? So that was, it both hit hard, but that hit different because we just expected we just were gonna get so much more from her. I mean, you know that, right? So why don't you just jump on in and lean on your remarks on your comrade sister, and then we'll come to tag to wrap it up.
Thank you so much for having me here. Yes, Johanna Fernández presente. I learned so much by attending the memorial on Sunday, and one thing I learned, because I thought she was born in 71, and I found out that she was born in 1970. And here I thought that we were, that I was actually a couple of months older than her, because I thought she turned 50 the same year I turned 50, the same year that Tupac would have turned 50, right? And I'm like, every time I would always say, you know what? I always thought you were older than me, Johanna. I always related to you as like a big sister. And here I come to find out that we are only a few months apart, and she never corrected me. She never corrected me. And I don't know, I don't know why. She was just one of the strongest sisters I've ever known. And I just have to say that, the illness did not claim her. We all have our time, and the body, the spirit and the mind may want to stay, and the body just, like a snake shedding its skin. And like it's been said that, she's here. So la lucha sigue, Johanna vive. And so with that, I would just like to echo what Robin was saying, that she was not singular. She wasn't narrow minded. She wasn't just about one particular focus. She was so curious about so much, and through her show on BAI, she taught us so many things. I learned about Sylvia Federici. I was reading, or trying to read Caliban and the Witch during quarantine because Johanna had her on her show. She was a feminist. She also had a unique way of seeing things. And it's been, a few people have said this. Mickey Melendez was saying that, she had a unique way of analyzing. She had an analysis. It was just the way her mind thought. How she would describe herself, though, would be just a girl from the Bronx who went to Brown and who learned how to think. And that it was through learning about the young lords that she learned how to think. and through their analysis. The Young Lords, for any listeners who don't know the history or who the Young Lords were, she would describe them as the counterpart to the Black Panther Party. And they were inspired by the Black Panthers. And it's because of the work that she did that we're left with her book, to quote Mumia, which has won a fistful of awards. We have the film. We also have the archive. We have Mumia's papers in the archives at Brown University.
Huge. Let me put a pin in that. Huge. This little Afro Latina from the DR not only goes to Brown, but she wasn't quiet when she was at Brown. She made some noise as a student at Brown too, but she happened to be a good student too. That helps. When you're a bad student, you're gonna have some problems. Right? I'm speaking from experience. Right?
Born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx. Yes, the Bronx.
They have the papers of one of the
Johanna
most
Fernández.
feared, hated political prisoners in the country, not just brought to Brown, but they literally reconfigured Mumia's prison cell.
Yes.
In their library. Who would have thought that would have happened some years ago when we were in a very different place around national support for Mumia, right?
Yes.
Another arm of her groundbreaking contribution to the freedom campaign for Mumia. But I just wanted to put a pin in that.
Yes.
That don't happen overnight.
Yes, and for listeners, what Siheed was talking about was the cell where Mumia lived for 30 years on death row. That was a part of the exhibition, which, by the way, the current exhibit, the Latinx Freedom, and that's at the Shed in New York City, it ends this Sunday, August 16th. So
okay, I needed to hear that.
Yeah, it opened in June, and she was able to go. She was able to go with her brother, Giovanni. Her brothers are amazing. She was the only girl out of the four of them. She has an older brother, Osvaldo, and she dedicates her book to them. So it's such a beautiful dedication. Because she embeds like a quote from Kipling, about 60 seconds run, that line from the poem If, even though he was a huge racist, Rudyard Kipling was a huge racist. But anyway, the poem is beautiful. We were inspired by the poem. That 60 minutes worth of distance run was how she lived her life. And she lived it fully, and she lived it to the fullest. And we should not mourn the shortness, because we miss her, because we want her here with us. And because we don't know how we're gonna, how do we move? Where do we go from here? We would want us to be asking these questions collectively. Yes, where are we going from here? What are we gonna do? And like Sister Pam said, that she was on the front line. She wasn't afraid to be on the front line. And if she was afraid, she didn't let it stop her. We talked about a lot of things privately, and we had private moments. And I want to share one. It helped me to understand, what when Mickey was talking about, and other people too. There's a historian, I don't remember the name, but I've been reading everything, just comforting myself by reading everything. There are two articles in the Amsterdam News, an op-ed by Herb Boyd, and a beautiful obituary.
Karen Carrillo's piece was very good.
Yes, Sister Karen's piece, Carrillo. we were driving up to Kingston. We drove up and she played Ruby Perez the whole time. And for folks who may not know, he's the Dominican merengue musician who was killed in that tragic nightclub where the ceiling collapsed.
Yes.
And this horrific tragedy that occurred because of the negligence of the owners and the corruption in the Dominican Republic to allow something like that to happen. But what I didn't know, I knew that a lot of people died, and I knew that there were we knew that there were a lot of people died. What I didn't know, and what Johanna shared, was that entire families died together.
Yeah.
And all the siblings died. There were parents who were left with, there were elderly parents. There are elderly parents with all of their children gone because all the brothers and sisters who are fans of this man's music
that was a national tragedy.
Went out dancing and died together. Or there are orphans because the parents went out and it was their date night. And, just that was Johanna, to be able to paint that whole picture, because yes, of course she would have that ability, that gift to do that as a historian that cares about humanity. And that what her work, what her scholarship means to me, is that that's what it's about. That our scholarship is about us, whether it's poetry. She called me her revolutionary mariposa. And she would say to me, and she wrote her in her dedication, because I went right to what she wrote, that keep soaring and keep roaring to
spread them wings, baby.
To your deepest humanity. To write that poetry to the deepest humanity. And that's what her scholarship was about. As far as the archive, it humanizes our mumia. It is a direct, I guess when we think about how they demonize us, how they criminalize us. We now have this archive. We also have the handshoe files.
Major fight.
And we have the archive of which Marcos Maldonado, who was one of the co-producers of It's a New Day, there's that archive, which is not available to the public, which I hope can be one day.
The handshoe documents, let me help you here. The handshoe documents were the surveillance files of the New York City Police Department that had been out of public purview for as long as they had been there, because that's what they did. And Johanna forced a lawsuit when she became aware of them to make them public, because she knew that there would be troves of stuff on the laws. And I remember she called me. She said, "Zaid, there's stuff here on Malcolm. There's stuff here on the party. Y'all got to look at this." I said, "Yeah, babe, I hear you, and I appreciate you." But the fact that she won that suit, right, against the biggest police force in the world, right? That's New York Police Department, right? That takes the cover off of how vicious and sinister as they can be. COINTELPRO didn't exist in the vacuum. Every arm of the United States national security state apparatus had its own counterintelligence apparatus aimed at our movements, and that included the police. In New York City, that helps us understand what that actually looked like. Major fight, major contribution. Let me bring Tag in, because I want you to catch your breath, right? And I don't want to lose this young brother. We're finally up against the clock, and all of y'all have shared some incredible pieces that make up this incredible legacy of this incredible comrade sister that we love. Tag, jump on in, son. Right? I don't want you to get lost. You're outside and it's getting dark. We can't see you no more. Right? You've been struggling with sound. Can you hear us all right?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Jump on in and talk about your teacher, son.
You know, as has been expressed, you know, there's no necessary way to begin, and there's no way realistically to, you know, complete that picture. You know, so we bring different elements, you know, to that, and there have been just so many clear articulations, you know, of this dear comrade, and one of the clearest to me, and it's been referenced here, and you know, out of respect, you know, I won't be, you know, we don't, regardless of what, you know, there is a very real sense in which, you know, Sister Johanna is still out here with us and will remain out here with us for the duration, you know, and this is how she lived her life, you know, in all of its vibrancy, and in vibrancies, you know, plural, and in all of the different ways where, if we want to talk about teaching, for example, her entirety was instructive, very intentionally, and you know, I to me, you know, there's no kind of amount of time, you know, that could delimit and make sense of all of those reverberations. You know, I would say that none of us individually can know how fully her presence out here, you know, will be felt, and is being felt, and will continue to be felt, and none of us can really gauge accurately, you know, how those reverberations uh, will continue out here, because there are just so many different threads of that, and that's part and parcel of, you know, how she chose very intentionally to be in the world, um, to be present, to be that teacher for so many, but at the same time, you know, to also be so selfless with her energy, with her time, with her capacities, um, with resources, you know, all of which has been said, and
Tag, I want you to say how she impacted you.
well, I mean, that's all of that is part and parcel of that, and I would also say, you know, what I was just starting to point toward, and this is one of many ways that Sis Johanna has and continues to impact me, was you know, her ever-present relationship to Mumia, to the Mumia movement, um, and to all that Mumia upholds, which is similarly, you know, very selfless and very uh, universal in its scope. So that in tandem was always a very potent uh, mode of communication. One of the countless ways that Sis Johanna impacted me directly was that she was always able to, and always willing to, lend her access and her time and her analysis to whoever, you know, needed it, particularly in the sense of bringing Mumia's voice to those spaces live and direct. And relatedly, very, very much relatedly, and in keeping with just the physical presence of Mumia's voice, which I know that all of us here who have been impacted by Mumia's voice are well aware of what that is, and how indescribable that impact is. She also was always attuned to drawing out everyone else's voices. And one of her constant messages was to find your voice. And she was somebody that always was listening out for your voice specifically, especially if you have not found your voice as yet.
That again is
Zaid,
the teacher of the master teacher. Go ahead, Donna.
I know when Tag started talking and as everybody was talking, it made me think of how they ended the movie Malcolm X and how it went to the screen and the students began saying, I am Malcolm X, I am Malcolm X. And then it went across to the motherland. And then you've seen babies over there saying, I am Malcolm X. And I think Mother Africa said it first, and everybody has continued to say it, is that she will continue to live through all of you, who have known her. And when you're, out, whether you're teaching and something comes to mind of how she would do something, and then also Sag said, finding your own voice. And so it just made me think of that scene when everybody's like, I am Malcolm X, and because of how they saw Malcolm X in their own self. But I also wanted to ask, has anybody been able to speak to Mumia and get any comments from him?
Oh, he's always there. I was trying to put my hands on the tape so we could run it. Oh, he's very vocal about that. Absolutely.
Okay.
But anybody listening to this, not having heard Mumia, not know where to find Mumia, Prison Radio, right?
No, I'm just saying, is there anything that you can share with the audience, some of his thoughts on the
I'm gonna put it in the chat when I put my hands on it, because his thoughts on Johanna directly are also recorded there as well. Absolutely. And I should say this, you lifted up the what Spike did on Malcolm. So that scene actually comes from Fred Hampton's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that actually comes from in real time. Spike in the film for it to do what it could do in that film, but it actually comes from Fred's funeral. I mean, young people started doing that at the end of his funeral, and it just lifted that space up off the sky in a very real way. And and all these traditions, we're talking about somebody like Johanna. We're talking about the intersection of all of these traditions and all of these struggles. I just wanted to put a pin on that. Donna, why don't you ask our guest a ritual question as we wind this segment down, right? It's been a very full segment, and I'm glad we did it. And I'm glad we were able to get all of you on, and especially on a Friday night too. Some of y'all have socialized. I don't.
and before I ask that question, I'm going to lift up our Orange's former teacher, Marilyn Zuniga.
Yes, I was waiting for you to do that.
And how I came to know Professor Johanna, how when she came on behalf of Marilyn, and she taught us here in Orange.
Hold up, set it up. Marilyn Zuniga, a young teacher, elementary teacher in the Orange school.
Who said
for children about Mumia Abu-Jamal, and
by teaching compassion, teaching compassion,
shared Mumia's story, and the children, learning from their teacher, wanted to send their thoughts and their well wishes for Mumia's health, and the FOP, the corrections officials, kicked that back to the FOP, and the FOP raised hell and had her fired.
Yeah.
And the Board of Education in Orange would not stand by her, even though we shut the Board of Education down to do that. And Johanna was right up in the middle of all of that.
And what she did, she came into the community and taught us how to advocate, and why we should advocate, and why this was not acceptable. So, she did a full class, a full teaching here in Orange on what the board was doing when some outsiders coming in and, creating these wedges in your community, and why this was not acceptable. So I thank Marilyn, and the relationship and how it brought, Professor Johanna to us, and we had the privilege of having her have a teaching, a full-blown teaching right here in Orange, New Jersey. And as I close with that story, I want to ask each of you, when you are doing the work that you do, or you're thinking or about Professor Johanna or whatever you're doing, is there a hip hop or any artist that you listen to that keeps you inspired? You want to start with you, Robin?
Listen, music has been saving me these dark days, these very dark days that we are in. I love listening to people like Nina Simone. I love listening to Michael McDonald. I love listening to Whitney Houston. And I love dancehall music, the music of the diaspora, Poor People Fed Up by Bounty Killer, all the songs from Buju Banton about poverty and escape and freedom. There's a lot to choose from. Bob Marley, of course. But in a lot of ways, I feel like music it keeps us going. Like I just was like, Nina got me through. Nina got me through days of not being able to believe that Johanna Fernández was on another plane now. And so it's been very important. And I think it's so we need that. We need that fuel. She knew that. She loved music. She loved art. She loved culture. She would fight to the death over flyers and how they were, because she believed art spoke to the people. And so we have to keep ourselves alive with our cultural warriors.
Robin, when I was in leaving kindergarten, going to first grade, our class song was "To Be Young, Gifted, and Black." Nina Simone. You see her at the piano, "To Be Young." Yeah. All right, who's next? All right,
I guess I can go. I mean, everything Robin said, I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. I haven't always been, as much as I'm a music fiend, I haven't really been tuning in for some time, but one of the songs I heard the other day, and it's been ringing, is that Desiree song, "You Gotta Be." Desiree is an artist many don't know, and that song hits every time. So yeah, and of course the Nina Simone piece that was always on Johanna's radio morning show. Is beautiful.
I knew how it feels to be free.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it for me at the moment. Yeah.
All right, Tag or Mariposa? Who? Mariposa, you're muted.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Definitely Nina Simone. The song she would open up It's a New Day with. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I've been playing that on loop, and I've actually been playing the conga and singing it for her. What else? Oh, Ruby Perez de Color de Rosa, and Willie Colon. There's a special show that she did for BAI called Froze, Berets, and Leather Jackets, and there's throughout, like interspersed throughout, and all those songs, those Fania songs that are part of that era.
Incredible music. Oh,
it's two more. Fight the Power, Public Enemy, and in regard to our conversations about relationships and stuff like that, No Scrubs.
No scrubs, okay.
And I don't want y'all to have no damn scrubs either. I ain't been protecting you all these years for no scrubs to come up into your life.
and Tag.
You muted, Tag. I hope he heard. Did he hear you?
Tag.
And we can't see him in the dark.
Yeah, I can see it moving. Tag, can you hear me? Tag, you got a song?
Unmute.
Unmute. There you go. You got a song, Tag?
He keeps muting himself.
He's unmuted.
He's been having issues with sound.
Yeah, he's outside too.
Sophia, you know, you got to come back and talk about this parade that, you know, separate and apart from the Labor Day parade, the Jamaican parade that they have for independence.
Okay. Still
Okay,
nothing?
Tag.
That Tag is coming in real loud.
No,
Tag, who you
no
listen to
audio.
hip-hop?
No audio.
Yeah, we got
hear
you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, respect. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll keep it concise. So, firstly, I'll start with Jeezy, and I'll start with Jeezy because it was not so shocking to me, but it was news to me to find out that Mumia messed with Young Jeezy's work, and that was thanks to Sis Johanna, you know, as we would expect. But you know, Sis J was you know, forever listening out to, you know, the currents of whatever was going on. Another one that I would speak to would be the interlude that Mumia is on with Immortal Technique. I think it's called what is that track called? It's the interlude. I think that it's called Homeland Security.
Okay.
So I would I would point toward those two, but you know, I feel like regardless of whether or not we shared the same exact taste in hip hop, which we did not, Sis Johanna always just repped for that hip hop ethos in just her being, as far as just how she moved out here, and always was able to channel that energy in instructive and connective ways. And I will forever, you know, I'll just forever resonate with that energy, you know, and it was different every time.
Right on. Que viva to our sister. That means long live, y'all, in Spanish. Right? Long live Johanna Fernández. Right?
And before you close, I was just saying, Mustafa, you got to come back and talk about the, you know, that parade and outside of the, you know, the Parkway. And I don't, you know, the Labor Day. I was like, wow, I can't believe all of those people. It was phenomenal to see.
What you talking about, Labor Day in Brooklyn?
No, I'm talking about the parade, the Jamaican parade that they just had. Is it a week ago?
Independence Day, yeah.
Yeah, for Independence Day. It was a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Was in Brooklyn, and the numbers were wow.
Yeah, we've never had that before, so
yeah,
man.
So that was beautiful to see those numbers and just to see. And did you get to go?
No, I didn't even know there was one happening. I heard about it, saw the pictures, and I'm not even in New York at the moment. So
oh my gosh, I was like, whoo. Robin, are you in the city? Did you, Mariposa, did anybody get to go?
I heard about it. I was in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So we were 6 people that wasn't there, right? We were 6 people.
Yeah.
I was like, they showed out. Yeah. You know, because it was like this talk, like, is it needed? You know, there's a Labor Day parade. I was like,
the buses, they were right next to buses. The streets were just crazy. People were doing chicken jerk. This, yeah, it was.
Man, now you're making me hungry.
It was phenomenal.
He does it great.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. So I have to, and everybody was talking about.
Let's put a pin in it as we go, right? In the spirit of resistance. That's the culture of our people stepping forward, defying anti-ICE, anti-immigrant racism that is the order of this day.
And
Fred Hampton said, we're going to fight fire with water, we're going to fight racism with solidarity, and we're going to fight capitalism with socialism.
What were you going to say, Mariposa?
that's speaking on that last year Johanna was going down to 26 Federal Plaza. She was also very active in our union, the PSC CUNY union.
That's right.
She often would say, I am in academia, but not of
Not
it.
of it. Yes.
And she
Mhm.
would say that she wasn't afraid to throw the tenure clock out the window. Like she
Mhm.
decided to just do that. But she did get tenure, and
Mhm.
she had people that fought. And
Mhm.
at the memorial, the former chair of the history department spoke on that, So
Yeah, I
she
think. Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's just so important for us to know that because her book won so many awards. It's
Absolutely.
easy to believe that she was embraced by
And fight.
academia
Right.
and that we were waiting for her words, but no, she took the tools that people gave us to advance as individuals and become part of the machine and the system, and she used those tools for the people. So people threw everything they could at her, especially at a time where advocating for Palestine during the
Uh,
genocide put your whole world in jeopardy.
That's right.
She still raised her voice. So that's the fearlessness
and
part of
brought
her.
Mumir right to those struggles.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I used to work for the legal department at PSC CUNY, so it was teachers that like Johanna and that are always probably the most, they're or they make the union, if you will. The union is there. It's what it's there for. So,
You damn right.
she had that fiery spirit since she had that fiery spirit. I loved seeing the photos of her when she was at Brown as
mhm.
an undergrad, and they took over a building, and
That's
she
right.
is with a bullhorn. I don't know if it was 1992, and she gave a speech outside of a bathroom window.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Beautiful.
plus she
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I mean, so
Well,
Mm.
Zayd, y'all have something in common, huh? Taking over buildings.
That's how we ride. They
Mhm.
don't come around, shut them down. That's right.
and really
Mm.
challenging the institution, challenging
Mm-hmm.
Brown
Right.
on
Pushing
making
envelope.
sure, yeah, opening up the doors for people, for those behind her, to make
Mhm.
sure that
You can't be
that
about the
the next
facade.
generation,
Right.
right? And her
Right.
younger brother, I loved hearing the story of that her younger brother, Tirso, told this story that when she was an undergrad at Brown, that he got on, and maybe you can invite him next time. I don't know. He should tell
Right.
the story. But he went up there when he was 12 years old, up to Brown on a bus, went down to Port Authority with with his friend, and she gave him the keys to her dorm, and then he didn't see her until the end of the weekend, but they had a great time. But he wound up, and she helped him with his essay when he was applying, and he wound up attending Brown. And one of the things that they were fighting
That's a
for
great
was
family story.
for more students of color to
Mm-hmm.
be
Yes.
admitted, and for financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, some of us get into these institutions, and we're just, looking out to climb that ladder. We're not looking for to make it better for the next generation. Um, I think, I'm not sure, but I think that she was a first generation college graduate.
I think
When
she
she
Mhm.
was.
speaks when she would speak of her father, she would say that he knew real hunger, and she would say, "My friend, I am a child of immigrants."
That's right.
Right.
Say that a lot.
She did.
So I think that that's one of the lessons that she leaves, is that we need to continue to fight for education, fight
Mhm.
for the next generation to have these opportunities, and that scholarship, that public scholarship, of taking it to the streets, of doing teach-ins, of just just
To your point, Mariposa, no, you're right, because just think how it's practically taken what you're talking about, keeping your foot in the door, keeping it open, training others and organizing, but you almost got this, administration wanting to shut down the voice. Where else do you come to, as Professor John said, find your voice? Where else do you come to find your voice? That's what you do in school. And you see,
that's what they tell us.
on these conversations of Palestine, you are trying to muzzle students who are finding their voice. It's horrible, and we need to, you just had it, the issue at Howard University over financial aid. These conversations are not 1 minute or one-time conversations. They are continually going on, and we must train each other so that the ones coming behind us will know.
Yeah.
Especially with affirmative action, with the rollback on everything that was won, that there's no affirmative action, that all of these.
Yeah, it's tough because you think CUNY and you think revolutionary history, 60s struggle, but when you go and you look at the faculty meeting, you could feel like Rosa Parks in there. Okay, there's not a lot of diversity in the faculty of CUNY. The students, yes, but the faculty, not so much.
Wow.
So we have to think about what does it mean to fight for the struggle, for equity, for justice, for our students, for the faculty, the teachers, the people who are there, who are made to feel invisible, who aren't given the benefits and the salaries that they need to honor the commitments that they give to CUNY as adjunct faculty and contingent faculty. So we really have to kind of think about all that. It's very complicated. That's what I loved about Johanna. She was always digging. She never stopped digging. There was never a level you got to where she was, not going to go deeper, whether it be race to indigeneity, to the role of the native peoples, to women and gender and violence, to supporting LGBTQ, trans, to the environment, to food, to everything.
And you know what, Robin? Colin Powell said in his book, I never forget this line on his book. He was talking about CUNY and they have the center named after him. And he said, I remember going to CUNY at a time when New Yorkers, and I'm paraphrasing, didn't think it robbery to send somebody like me to school who couldn't otherwise afford it. He went to CUNY for free, and how he described it was, when he was in the room with all of these other generals, like, where'd you go? Did you go here and everything? And how he would, describe CUNY and everything like that. But it was something that he was very proud of. So you're right. And like you said, you might see diversity among the enrollment, but then if you look over to who's teaching those, and maybe not so much. So
it's been real, y'all.
Yes.
And y'all the only ones that have added like another 15 minutes to the conversation after we did the ritual question.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And don't make it, it's so much going on, even at, with CUNY, and don't wait for us to call you if there's something that, I hope there's going to be a scholarship in her name. I hope there are things that are going to come and, that are coming down, the pipeline, that there's to talk about, and different things, I know around professional development, there's a lot, that there are a lot of people that can learn, after her life and her legacy. So we look forward to hearing what's to come, or anything that you might have to share with us. So please don't be a stranger.
Thank you.
And Mariposa, you got to come back and keep us updated on Puerto Rico. We didn't want to brush over. You just said you were in Puerto Rico, so we know there's a lot too.
Thank you so much. Maybe when Esperanza Martel, who's in Puerto Rico now, maybe when she comes back,
we can talk. We can definitely talk.
Yes.
Right. And September's the big anniversary Vito Delades is in September. We can definitely talk.
Yeah, the water crisis in Puerto Rico is real, and
Mm.
the government knew that this was coming for decades, and yeah, so people are in the streets, and this
Should be.
governor Jennifer needs to go. So in the same way, Ricky Rosselló was forced to resign. That's what we need to do, is really um, get rid of this governor who was um, the president of
Mhm.
Latinos for Trump.
And we shouldn't be
Straight up.
surprised that we haven't heard anything about, any plans or what they're planning to do from 1600. So we shouldn't be surprised about that, but I don't know.
No, but I would like to share a few words that Johanna spoke
Mhm.
at one of the women's circles that Minerva Soya, who passed this past April, and who they're planning memorial to honor the four young lords, the four sisters who have passed this year, including Johanna. So for the Johanna Fernández, for the 5 women. But at one of the circles at Minerva Soya's Women's Day, these are a few of the words that Johanna spoke in as far as to remember. That's the African tradition that so many people, and I'm quoting Johanna now, that's the African tradition that so many people in this space continue to honor. So I want to be more of that person who honors our history, the experiences of our ancestors. I also want to continue the tradition that you all were walking, to hold up this thing we call justice, which is disappearing in this country. And there are so many women here who have inspired me. Ultimately, we need models so we can walk in the path that we need to be inspired. And I've interviewed women in this circle, and their stories fill my life with pride, with the courage to continue. And I'm very grateful for the work you've done and legacy that you walk in and leave behind. Johanna
And
Fernández.
And Mariposa, we send you a hug. I know last time you were here, you were doing the words of your dear sister and talking about jumping in the pool with her and everything. So we give you love and blessed memories of your two good friends that you have lost.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this show.
Welcome.
It's been a blast, y'all.
Thank you. Have a blessed one.
Yes.
It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Ed's gonna come in and we got to say we did. Yeah, I'm sure. Ed's gonna come in and do that. Thank you, y'all. It's been a powerful night. Oh, now
So
here
who is that?
comes the great Jonathan Austin now. Now
Oh, wow.
All day.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Track is behind down. He running around being famous. Right?
So who was that was on with Mariposa before? The woman.
Esperanza Martel.
Esperanza. Yeah, she was a
Legendary
pistol.
organizer, one of my teachers. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're thanking everybody that's been here.
I just wanted to put this up here because she was on our show 5 years ago, or
That's
in
right.
2021.
She's been on. That's right.
And she's been on a few times, and
That's
this
right.
was the first time I believe that she was on the show. And so I just wanted to put this up here. If you want, we can go out with just the introduction of this. I can start playing it, and you can hear what's there.
That's a great share. Go ahead, John. The New York's history that we want to develop too when you come back from that.
Can you hear?
But last weekend, right? I wasn't with y'all Friday because where was I? I had to be in the street here in Newark for Newark's representation of the 26th annual National Day Against Police Brutality, where we rallied on the fraternal order of police for the third year in a row. They're no longer off limits for all the mess and all the obstacles they create around police reform in this country. And I had to leave there and run into New York because I had the task of opening the International Tribunal on Human Rights Violations in the United States against Black, Brown, and Indigenous people. And on the first day of testimony, one of the expert witnesses was our guest who we're about to have and enjoy over these next few minutes, Professor Johanna Fernández. The City University of New York's school system is a teacher and professor of history. Done an important film on Mumia Abu-Jamal, and has edited helped Mumia on some of his books, right? And like I said, is one of our lead voices in the whole fight for Mumia's freedom, right? Unfortunately, even though we just had a couple of victories on the political prisoner fight, the granting of medically compassionate release for Russell Maroon Shoatz after some 49 years in captivity, and really up against it, facing terminal stage 4 colon cancer, and the granting of parole for David Gilbert, the state of New York's last political prisoner. We then get a dark decision coming out of the courts of Pennsylvania against Mumia, and we're going to let Johanna break that down and give some more background as to what she participated in this past weekend. So Johanna Fernández, welcome back to All Politics Are Local.
And before she starts, I just want to say I had the opportunity to meet her when she gave a teaching in Orange, New Jersey regarding Marilyn Zuniga.
That's right. That's right.
The teaching that she did here was so dynamic that I'm sorry if anybody missed it. So she became one of my favorite professors.
Did we record that? You can say something. You have to look back and see if we documented that.
Yeah, we have to see if we did that.
If we did, right?
She's done some tremendous work in this area. So without further ado.
Yeah, Jersey. Yeah, that's enough fight we should have won. Our daughter Marilyn Zuniga took up behind that in New Jersey, went to Oakland of all places, and totally redid her life. Was having a good time teaching in a very liberated space and enjoying what she's doing. It's a shame she had to leave this crazy up south gangster state in order to do it. But that's part of what this struggle is all about. So tell us, beloved, what's going on with Mumia and what happened last weekend?
Well, thank you for the illustrious introduction, Donna's, Baba Saeed, Jonathan. Thank you for the love, and thank you for those struggles of the past. The Marilyn Zuniga struggle that New Jersey, that both of you supported. Important. Okay, so what's going on with the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal? I'll start by saying that 2 years ago, a judge by the name of Leon Tucker,
a Black Republican judge in
the
story. Yes,
the lower courts, the Court of Common Pleas, Republican judge, not necessarily a friend of Black people in prison, let alone Mumia, but the judge, Leon Tucker, established that there was judicial bias in Mumia's case. Judicial bias in the realm of Mumia's appellate process. So essentially that one of the judges involved in deliberating on Mumia's appeals, a man by the name of Ronald Castile, had previously been prosecutor of Philadelphia, prosecuted Mumia's case, and should never therefore had heard his appeals, because you can't be both prosecutor and judge in the same case.
So they say.
So they say. So that's the issue that Mumia won on 2 years ago. The judge, Leon Tucker, a Black Republican, established that in fact there had been judicial bias, that Ronald Castile should have recused himself from hearing Mumia's appeals. We won. Not only did we win, the DA of Philadelphia didn't challenge Leon Tucker's decision that the judge, Ronald Castile, engaged in judicial bias and should have recused himself. Okay, so all of Mumia's appeals from the 1990s to 2012 were reopened because all of them had been denied by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court,
Right.
where this judge
he
was
participated in that.
Exactly. Okay, so our attorneys do all of the papers on the appeals. The DA responds to our arguments on these issues that were being taken up to be reconsidered on appeal. And they give this to the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. And just this week, the court decides to quash the appellate process because in its view, the terms of Judge Tucker's decision and the evidence presented didn't establish a violation of constitutional proportion. So even though the DA didn't challenge